Hello and welcome to Spurs Kings TV. It's me, Marlon, and it's the man of the hour, Ashmatic. Ash, are you well?
I could be better, man. I've got a slight twinge, but yeah, it's enough about me, man. It's enough about me. Yeah, I'm not bad, bro. Otherwise, I'm good. I'm good. How you doing?
All good, man. All good. Apart from it's gonna happen, innit? It's gonna happen.
Wow. Yes, it's gonna happen, man. It's gonna happen that the sun will rise tomorrow, right?
Oh, mate.
The sun will rise tomorrow.
Anyway, this show's about one thing and one thing only. Let's be honest. It's the big one. It's the what game. If we are gonna do anything, it's the game we all want. Especially after the season we've had, the up and down season. This is the game. If Ange doesn't know, forget the away game. The away game is always like, what happens, happens. We can't lose at home.
Yeah, 100%, bro. This is where we need to turn up the passion, the determination, heart on the sleeve. Form has to go out the window, and determination, grit, all of that. You know, it all goes into the North London derby, the rich history that we've had between them over the years. The rivalry's fierce. This is a special occasion, and it's going to be Ange's first one at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So it needs to be a special one against Arteta.
Lego head. So let's bring out the guest who's going to break this down for us. They're going to tell us how not to lose, even how to get a victory. But first of all, let's bring out Colin from Talk and Ball. Are you well?
I'm well, yeah, excited. Glad to be here and excited for the match, obviously. Hope you guys are good as well. Yeah.
And our next guest, he just created a new channel, and I believe it's called No Filter FC. But Charlie, are you well?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on, guys. Yeah, no, you guys already touched on it there. Big one coming up on Sunday. So yeah, no, looking forward to it. And yeah, back with a new channel. If you guys haven't subscribed, please do. It'd be appreciated a lot. So yeah, looking forward to it. I'll hopefully be having some of you guys on maybe soon. So yeah, looking forward to the show. Let's go.
So let's get into things, right? So Ash, it's currently 5-0 to Arsenal right now as we speak, right? And it probably should have been more, if we're being completely honest, right? So that's the first problem. The second issue that happened today was yesterday, Cole Palmer was sick, right? He's got the flu and was ruled out straight away. Yeah. And now, I don't know if it's just me being a Spurs fan, but every time Arsenal seems to be coming up against teams right now, they seem to be missing key players, right? And it seems to be an all-season thing. Right?
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Even when they played Manchester City at home, Rodri's missing. When they have to play Liverpool in January, Salah's at the World is at the African Nations or gets injured. Right? All these things keep falling for Arsenal. Now, Spurs fans going quietly over their weekend, going, all right, no football for us. Nothing can really happen. And then it blows up because of an Instagram post.
Oh.
Come on, tell me about your doggy.
Oh no!
Literally, that's what I was doing. I wanted to pull my hair out, bro. Oh my days! I just was like, why always us? I know we have a lot of injuries throughout the season, throughout seasons, and that's typical Spurs. And we've always been complaining, especially of late, of our medical team. You know what I'm saying? I remember Conte when we were under Conte. He was criticizing the medical team. Even before that, players injured out for some reason. We can't go a whole season without some type of fuckery going on with our players. And for me, it's like, finally, we've got our team together. We've got our back five assembled. Do you know what I'm saying? We're going to have some type of chemistry. And then all of a sudden, boom, boom, bam. You know what this does? You know what this does, Marlon? Charlie, Cole. What this does is highlights the actual lack of depth on our bench, because right now the whole Spurs fan base is combobulated. They're like actually thinking, how are we gonna put our team together? Do we change the formation? Do we put this player here? Do we take this player out of position and put him there? Like, do you know what I'm saying? That is the biggest debate at the moment on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, just in like WhatsApp groups, whatnot, YouTubes. Everyone's discussing, like, and it can't be one player's out and then the whole team just falls to pieces because he's so integral to the way we play. That can't be life. So for me, like, you know what? At the same time, it's come at the wrong time, but there is no right time, in my opinion.
It's the players can't get themselves up for a derby match, then you know what I mean.
Then what's the point? Then what's the point?
Be able to check one of us out there to play at at left back, and we do all right. It's the North London derby. I mean, yeah, I got high hopes. Maybe I'm just going to be let down. Maybe I'll come crashing back down to earth. But for right now, I still have high hopes, man. Yeah.
You didn't watch the game, bro. Trust me, you didn't.
No, I didn't. You really didn't. No, are they just carving them apart? It's that bad, huh?
Listen, I have optimism, but listen, I came out like, one of those balloons that just go, those lead balloons that just go down. All the air is cleaned out. That's why I was watching the game. I was like, oh my days, like, wow. But you know what? It's mad because another thing I'll bring up is the way the news broke. I would have preferred if the club broke it to us as opposed to us finding out on I found out legitimately on Instagram.
Have the club even broke it?
They have. Apparently they have.
They have finally, but like at the time they had not. No.
I don't. To be honest, I rarely check the Spurs news lately because it's never good if it's coming out of the club. So I just wait, and you get it on Instagram or X before Spurs even announce it. Like Romano will probably announce the injury before Spurs don't do anything, right? But Charlie, I want to bring you in on the Udogie injury. You was probably quietly going around your weekend thinking, all right, Spurs, it's Spurs, and then it breaks. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting it like any of us. Yeah, I mean, it just comes back to what we've been saying. Like, this has happened a lot, player gets injured randomly, like no explanation at all. And you're right. I mean, why isn't this being announced by the club? Why is the player having to come out on Instagram and say something, So yeah, I mean, look, for the rest of the season, particularly this game, North London derby, we're in trouble, I've been talking about the high line. I think it's a ridiculous thing to do, in my opinion. And I think now having a makeshift, I guess, fullbacks with Porro potentially being a doubt for the game, I don't know what we're going to do. We saw what happened against Wolves. We had the fullbacks out and we got done completely, So, yeah, no, dog each. Horrible news, Obviously, hopefully he recovers and we can get him back for pre-season. But yeah, gutted about that one. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens, really. So,
Ash. So obviously Charlie just stepped on Porro there as well, possibly being out.
We need Porro.
If they are both out, what do you do?
Well, this is it. It's that question 101. Like, what do you do without because basically with Porro, how I feel with him, out of the two inverts, he's the one that has the kind of ball playing skills where he can open up the pitch with his switches of play. His passings can find players from deep, etc. Sometimes, and I think he needs to do it a little bit more, he can go on the outside and he can whip crosses in and provide that width like an old school wing back. So, but he's really good in our build-up play. He's actually essential in terms of our progression. And him missing, I'm like, we've got a couple options I feel that we could potentially do. And Jagu Shin, obviously, he was scouted by Paratici as a right back for Juventus at youth level when he's under 21s from Romania. And he's someone, when I did see him, the little time I did see him on the ball, he actually played on the left side as a centre back, but he always checked back onto his right foot. So him on the left, he looked a bit like he wouldn't look very natural, in my opinion. So I thought actually he can carry the ball quite well. He's got good distribution. I think we didn't see that enough. But him on the right being like almost sometimes like a regista, as in he'll come into midfield and dictate, spray balls along, hit the wingers like your Werners or whoever's on the left, your Sons or your Johnsons. I think maybe possibly he could be a better alternative to someone like Emerson Royale, who, let's face it, in the final third, he's just got no end product. He's got no footballing ability in terms of like confidence. He's a confident player, but like when it comes down to it, what can he really do? He makes false runs, but no one really trusts him in that final third to give him the ball in those particular areas. So I would rather, if Porro was out and he's not able to play, I would rather Dragushin go as the right-sided right back, in my opinion.
Colin,
Interesting.
yeah, what would you do in this situation?
It's really hard because as you guys know, we play with such a weird system with our fullbacks. You know, we expect them to build up, to aid in the build up, like Ash was saying. So like, yeah, it's tough. I almost think we're forced, and this is not the sexy answer. This isn't the cool answer, the answer that anybody wants. But I kind of think that for tomorrow, not tomorrow, but for the game against Arsenal, Saturday, the North London Derby, Sunday, God, days. But for the North London Derby, I think we're forced into playing Davies and Emerson, and that's really unfortunate. But I just think that we can't chop and change the setup too much. Those guys are fairly used to playing back there in that role. We wouldn't be chopping and changing too many things. I think if you put Dragushin, putting Dragushin in that right back role, maybe that is the answer. I haven't seen enough of him play to know whether or not he's got what it takes to. I guess he can't be worse than Royale, but like as a center back, I don't know like how good his build-up play is, and I know that we're expecting those fullbacks to come in and to aid in that. I trust Ben Davies to do that. I don't trust him to get up the pitch. I don't expect him to do much on the offensive side of things, but I do think that he can defend. And I think that he can, as long as he sits back a little bit deeper, and I do think that he can aid in the build-up. It's that right side is the question. But I think as bad as it sucks, I think we're going to see Davis and Royale on the left and right, unfortunately.
Charlie, do you have any alternatives to what everyone has said? Do you feel like it's going to be Royale and Davis?
I mean, what I would do if you've got a doggy out, which he is, I'd put Van der Ven there and put Dragusin in. If Emerson's out, if Porro's out, I'd put Dragusin there, and at left back, a doggy's out, so I don't even know. I mean, that's the thing. If both of them are out, one of Royale or Davies is going to play regardless of what we say. So
yeah,
man, it's a tough one.
I feel like Davies, with his experience and having played in so many North London derbies and understanding that match, I feel like will be important. If we have to have somebody play out of their normal spot, or somebody step in that's not normally in the starting 11, I think I trust Davies there, just with his experience.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Davies is a huge downgrade on Doggy, but I have more trust in Davies than I do with Chicken Royale on the right hand side. So yeah.
So I'm just going to throw this out there, right? Because a lot of people have said this, but actually, games that Davies has played left back this season for us has been a lot worse than Royale playing at right back. It's only been Davies playing at centre back where everyone went, actually, he's all right and done a good job there. But actually, if you look at what he'd done against Crystal Palace, and there was one other game, he actually has had to play left back, and he's not been great. So when it comes down to it, actually, is Royale the best person to be playing fullback? Even though Ash said he's not good at going forward, does this mean then that you are relying on your midfield three to actually step up their game?
Oh, definitely, without a doubt. This match is going to be different. I think that this match, obviously, we know that we don't have a manager. I mean, that changes up. He's got something he believes in, so he's not going to chop and change it completely. But with this match, I mean, it's needs must, right? Like we'll just do whatever we have to do to win. And so, yeah, I think we will need a midfielder that kind of sits and shields the defense a little more than we have normally. And I think Basuma's got to be that guy. I don't know. What do y'all think there?
I mean,
speaking of the midfield, sorry, Ash.
no, perfect.
I said after the Nottingham Forest game, Højbjerg and Bentancur, they came on and changed it completely. And then against Newcastle, he goes back to Basuma, who's been out of form for like months and months now. So I think there's actually a case. I don't think Højbjerg's great, and I don't think he fits the system too well. But I think there's a case for him, for me, purely because what we saw against Nottingham Forest, him and Bentancur in there just came on different game. You know?
I'm down with that.
Question though. Great. This is the next question, because I know a lot of people saying this about Højbjerg, but the games he started for Ange, everyone has come off afterwards and got he can't start again. With Højbjerg, it seems to be he always does well when he comes on. Most of his best performances for Spurs this season has actually been when he's come on a sub.
Is Sarr injured at the moment? If Sarr is not injured, he wouldn't be a terrible idea to play at that kind of number 6 role. I know that he's very slight, obviously, but he can run forever. And can cover for other people. I feel like he could cover the fullbacks. I think that's maybe the answer. And then you sub in Højbjerg depending on how the match is going.
Yeah.
No, you're saying put Sarr as a right back. Is that what you're saying?
No, my bad. No. Defensive midfielder, just like that. And then that way he can cover in for the fullbacks though. In transition. I feel like he.
So are we agreement that I don't know, Marlon? You can.
No. So I think the agreement is Ben Davies at left back.
Okay, cool.
I was only throwing it out there because everyone's been. I've been hearing a lot about Ben Davies, but actually, when you think about his best performances this season in a Spurs shirt, they've all been at centre back.
Yeah. Okay.
Where Royale has been playing. He played left back. He weren't great. I think everyone talks about Wolves, but was he not playing left back that game? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think at Palace as well.
I mentioned that's what I said. I said the Wolves game. That's when we had to play those two at fullback, and it was a disaster.
With Everton Royale, I think and Ash has pointed out, when going forward, right, he's not the greatest, right? So this is where I'm now relying on. This is where you are relying on the midfielders, and maybe this is where James Maddison might get more time on the ball and everything, because he hasn't got Porro in his space as he has done. So there was a conversation we had a few weeks ago, Ash. Do you remember when we said how far Porro and Udogie were up the pitch?
Yeah.
Right? But they weren't doing this at the beginning of the season. So that's when James Maddison, as a lot of people said, when his best performances were. But now that he's come back, and Udogie and Porro have now played this system with Ange for how long? And they're now fit. Now every time they're on the ball, they're in his positions that he was picking up early on in the season. So do you think actually this could be the game that Maddison turns it on?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I still think Ben Davies will go into those 8 positions. I still think Emerson's going to be in the 8 position as well. I still think Ange is going to want to go gun-ho and essentially put his foot on Arsenal's neck. I think that's the only way he knows. Whether he has the players for it, regardless, I honestly don't think he's going to change it. I think he's still going to instruct them, like on the sidelines, to get up. He pushes them on, like so. Yeah, go on, Charlie. What are you going to say about that?
Yeah, and guys, sorry, I'm going to have to jump. It's 10. Yeah, it's a bit of a quick one today. Sorry.
But no worries, man.
Next one. I should be able to stay a bit longer. So yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me on, though, guys.
No, if people don't know, that's where you can find Charlie.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, no, honestly, thanks for having me on, Ash. Though I apologize. It was
no, it's all good, man.
But yeah, no. Enjoy the rest of the show, guys. Hopefully, it won't be long before I'm back on this channel. So, yeah. Take care, guys.
As soon as possible.
Later, brother. Have a good one, Charlie.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
So, yeah. So, are you saying, are we sitting there going that it has to be Bentancur, Sarr, and Maddison? Is that the 3 that we're going for? Because a lot of people are saying, quite a few people are saying that Maddison should be dropped. But again,
I don't think you can afford to drop him. He's the most creative player in the team. So I mean, he's the player you've got to play back into form. Unfortunately,
well, this and I agree with you. I do agree with you, and I think this is where the whole who are the midfield 3 going to be, because he's been going with Basuma. Like, let's be honest, every single game, no matter how Basuma's performances is, like, this is a massive game. Like, I get Bentancur is a great player, but do you bring him in where him and Sarr have not got that relationship?
This is it. It's we've not seen Sarr play in the 6 role, and for me, his whole thing is his coverage of the pitch, him getting around the pitch. Now, maybe people are looking at Sarr, you know, dropping back, helping out the centre backs, helping out the full backs because he does have the legs.
He does have the
He
legs.
does have the athleticism to get around the pitch, and he's not terrible defensively. But the question is, in the North London derby, he has played one in there before, but we don't know how he is in terms of in the transition. Is he switched on? Can he smell the danger? Is he going to be positionally aware where to be on the pitch, in the center of the pitch? Will he dominate the center of the pitch?
Kev Jesus put exactly what I was about to say. This is because look, if you look at tonight, if he goes with Partey and Rice, right? Partey's not really going to venture foot, so it's going to be Rice out of the two.
Yeah.
So you haven't got where Jorginho will venture forward, Rice kind of stayed back. So if he's got those two in, Rice will venture forward. So basically, if you look at tonight, stop Odegaard, stop Arsenal.
Yeah, pretty much.
Makes sense. Yeah. He's the engine, man, for sure.
So, but who's going to take that role?
So yeah, I mean, I think that's the case of the argument that Sarr will be the man to kind of marshal and clean up and sweep up those type of opportunities. If Odegaard's on the ball, then he's the one. I can see Odegaard pressing aggressively when the ball comes into, because remember, whoever the 6 is, they have to progress the ball. Sarr's not bad in tight areas, by the way. So I'm not saying
he's really not. Yeah, he's pretty pressure resistant, surprisingly.
Yeah. So I do hear the case for having Papa Sarr there, but I just feel like he works better in maybe a double pivot alongside another 6, if that makes sense.
No, I totally get you. Yeah, he's. I mean, for one, he's kind of a slight dude. He's a little bit smaller of a guy. Yeah, I see it, man.
So maybe the formation is a 4-3-3, but I don't know if you guys would change it to a 4-2-3-1. I don't know if that makes sense, rather than having like a single pivot, like a single lone DM. Why not have 2 DMs to protect?
And I think that's closer to what Ange actually plays, because I don't think he even plays with a 6 for real. I think it's 2 8s next to each other who then kind of take turns either sitting or run. You know what I mean? One sits while the other one will.
All right.
Try to kind of push the ball up the pitch.
I'm going to put it like that. So does that make sense? So it's more like that type of shape.
Yeah, and then Maddison would go in the middle there.
Maddison will go in the middle. And then it's a case of who would we put next to, well, I'm going to assume that you guys would both agree that Ange is going to have probably Son up top. Or does anyone think Richarlison will come in?
Richarlison is not going to come in. Yeah, if he'd been playing, I would have said, yeah, but he's going to go with Son up top. He's not going to change that.
Yeah.
Cool. So Maddison behind Son. So you got the 10 there and the Son. And then on the left, are we going to say Werner to protect Davies?
Not even to protect Davis. We're going to be more for his pace, and I think we'll get into that later when we talk about how we can beat them. Yeah,
and then also on the right will be Johnson. I would assume. Is any pushback on that?
Yeah, I think depending on who his right back is, if it is Emerson, I think he's going to go for Kulu.
Oh, because Kulu offers more defensively, perhaps.
Yeah. And he's better, and Kulu's better on the ball than what I know. Look, if you take the Newcastle game in hindsight, we probably needed Kulu. I get everyone's frustrations for Kulu, but Kulu's out of everybody is probably the best on the ball.
Yeah, strongest on the ball for sure.
Strongest on the ball.
Out of our squad. Yeah.
And I think, depending on how the last couple of weeks are gone, I think Ange will go. Because if you look, you have to take the last game into consideration. They were thumped at Newcastle. Thumped. Mm-hmm. And you kind of got to look at it. We're going to be playing against a team that's, let's be honest, way better than an injured Newcastle team who have been together for all season, hardly any injuries. hardly any weaknesses. If we're being completely honest, they have some, but I reckon he's going to go with Kulu. I think that's going to be the biggest surprise.
Do you think you drop Johnson? Do you think like Johnson hasn't been playing too well then for him to justify bringing Kulu? Kulu hasn't really been playing well this season.
Not when he started. Johnson's best performances, if you look at the games where he's performed well in, it's been when he's come on a sub.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I think you might go with Kulu.
Right. I'm going to make a completely different suggestion, guys.
What you got? What you got?
This Ange will not go with this. Just letting you know. This is totally off the mark. This is what I predict. I predict something similar to this, by the way, where I think Basuma will come in for start.
Yeah, I think it will be Basuma and Bentancur.
Yeah, I think Basuma will come in.
And to be fair, they did start. Look, let's take the first 20 minutes against Newcastle. They did start well until Porro and defense started to be all over the place.
God, what was Porro doing that match, you guys? I haven't talked to y'all since then.
Yeah,
that was so bad, guys. That was so bad.
And I honestly think I understand the logic of Kulu playing in that position because he adds cover, he's physical, can carry the ball, is good in progression, helps Emerson out. That to me makes more sense. Like I'm happy with this team here, but I've got a feeling Johnson might start. However, let me go back to my madness. I would scrap this whole thing. I know it's not Ange Ball, but listen, this is what I would do. I would do for the players we have. I do a 3-2-4. I play 3 at the back, and at the back I would have.
Now, I know what you're going to say. Look, I know a lot of people have been suggesting the 3 because you can have Dragishin, Romero, and Van der Ven as the back 3, and then. But the problem you've got is that he hasn't tried it at all.
I don't think Dragishin's got it to start this season. I don't think that it's gonna take some time for him to develop a partnership, and we have an awesome partnership with Romero and Van der Ven, where like one knows when to sit, the other one knows when they can kind of maraud up the pitch. I think I don't know, I just don't feel like Dragishin. I know we've only seen him in cameos, and how much can you do in a little cameo? But I thought we were getting another like Romero who would be like ready to just jump in, and he's not quite that, which is okay.
It's quite funny how many people want to go back to Conte's system, but don't want Conte.
The funny thing is, it's different because you're higher up. You're higher up the pitch, number one.
But
number 2, go on, sorry.
Isn't it the one time he did try 3, he changed it within like 5 minutes?
He did change it, but I think he tried it again after that. Not in that same game. I think he tried it again in another game, but it was like more to see the game out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
As opposed to starting it. But I just feel like if we had midfielders in the 8 positions, then would they look better higher up, if that makes sense? So, for example, if we had maybe Bentancur and Maddison in the 8 roles, like actually playing 8s. So put Bentancur there.
For me, I'm looking at the City away game, and we have to do something similar to what we did to them away. That's exactly how I think we have to line up, in the same sense as in, look, our defense is out. I know it was a 2 centre backs for City, but you need your midfielders to step up. And that's what they did. They did. Like, if you think about City away, they did step up that day. Like, and yeah, we started off quite shaky, but once we got used to the hang of things, we kind of did play the game out. And actually, towards the end, I think he made a sub that kind of killed the momentum. I can't remember who it was because it was quite a few games ago. But once Lo Celso scored his goal and everything, I think we were on top for a while. And I think we're kind of in the same situation with this. Like, there's positive and negatives to take from this. It's got the starting lineup can start, but if they don't have the desire for the North London derby and don't put like 110% in, right, it's not going to happen, is it? No matter how much we want it as fans, but it's down to the players at the end of the day. And this is the one. Like, I think I've seen quotes from Van der Vaart and everything like that. If they want it, they can go and do it. But look, we're coming up against a very, very good Arsenal team. unfortunately. And this is the problem right now. We're coming up against a very good Arsenal team. So Ange's got his work cut out. Like we've seen what we've seen what they've done to Chelsea tonight, right? Against Wolves on Saturday, where Wolves went very defensive because they didn't have the players and they still broke them down. Like the Villa game, even like let's be honest, they missed so many chances to begin with, and Villa killed them at the end. Now, are we expecting them to turn up like that? They're not going to turn up like that. This is a big. Arteta's going to be telling them. We saw what happened last year. This is my issue. Last year was such a disappointment, compared to this year. And this is weird because it's now hitting me that Kane don't play for Spurs now. It's just going into a North London derby without Harry Kane at home, right? The away game was like, okay, yeah, just getting used to it. But this is the one where it's hitting home.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no,
he's gone, bro. He's gone, big time gone.
Because look, all of us are looking at it, and we can't pick our look as the fan base and everyone in the chat as well. We can't pick our front three. We can't pick our midfield three. We can't even pick our centre backs. This is where we're at. Going into a derby, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think watching that Chelsea game, I realised what Chelsea were desperately lacking because they did have chances at 1-0, and it was like toothless. Even without Cole Palmer, they still created chances, but they just didn't know. Like the decision making from Jackson was just awful.
So he's the shocking player. He's like everything he does. If it's not on pure instinct, if he has time to think about it, it's not good. Not going to go well for him.
But this is where the whole Werner question and actually Johnson to a certain extent comes in, because Werner is no good in front of goal.
Unless it's like quick, instinctual, like I've got 1 second, I've got one touch into the net.
But even then, like he has shown times this in the last few games, and I'm going to use Fulham as the prime example. That was instinct, and he still missed an open goal. So it's weird because he went from the Villa finish to Fulham the week after with an open goal, which was easier, and couldn't even put it in the net.
It's in him. It's in him.
It's all up here for that guy.
Yeah, and the problem is with Werner is I don't even want him to score. I just want him to hit the target. It's becoming that I want him to make the keeper work, right? And this is going to be the issue. This weekend, Werner can sit there, right? And I'm going to sit there and say this. If Werner goes and has the best game of his life on Sunday, all the other games are redundant. I will spend that 16 million and go, you can come here for North London derbies, right? But I've got a feeling it's going to be a point where he's going to get a big chance and he's going to fluff his lines.
I mean, history would dictate that, yes, that will happen. But my thing is with Werner and the whole Son Heung-min situation, the actual players that Son is going to be now playing out on the left. Eventually, they're going to move him back to the left.
They will do, yeah.
And you need a succession plan for Son on the left. Now, if you're swapping Son for Werner, and Son's not going to be able to play every single game, if we're trying to go for the title, as Ange's saying,
it's not even just titles.
I know, but
you're talking cup matches as well.
The reason why I say the title, bro. The reason why I say the title, bro, is because that's the kind of vim and ambition that he's saying. Like, raw, we need to go on the market with Rete. And if you're looking for a successor for Son, Werner is not a successor for Son, in my opinion. So, they like, especially for the left. I'm not talking about up front. Like up front, is a question mark right now. So, like for me, it's like, it doesn't make sense. Like Werner you could say that Werner's been a very good or a successful stopgap at that. Like he's come in, he's done a job.
Immediately.
No.
He hasn't had a preseason. He's come in and he's impacted games. I mean, like, are there players? Jeremy Doku, for example, he's my example that I always go to because it fits my narrative. But like, how much has he? I don't know. He's had a full season with City. How much has he done? I just think for a guy that's like been plopped in and we're basically just like, here you go do it. He's done all right. His return's not terrible. How many more goals / assists would he need this season for you to go?
For me, it's not even about that, because I think what Andrew said to him, listen, don't worry about the goals. I want you just to get to that byline and cross the ball. Do you know what I'm saying? Is he doing that? Yes. But when it comes to goals and we're using him as a wide forward, that's where the issue is. That's where can no longer it doesn't make sense. You see what I'm saying? So for me, like if Andrew, because for me at Celtic, he had two wingers. Do you know what I mean? And I think for Spurs, he looked at what he has and he was like, he's adjusted. He was like, oh, Son's more of a wide forward. What I'll then have is one winger and then one wide forward and then your striker at the top. Whatever reason, Rich didn't really do it at the start of the season. So then he's had to move Son into that striker role. And then now Son went to the Asia Cup, whatever. We were light in that area. So we're like, you know what? You got Werner in. He was like, listen, just get to the byline, give it to Richie. Richie will tap it in, or Johnson will be on the back post. That's all I want you to do. That's all. Don't worry about finishing. Do you know what I mean? He just kept it simple for him. So I thought, in that sense, I was like, you know what? He's doing a job. Good. You know what I mean? I'm not mad at that. But what I am mad at is, as you were saying, Marlon, like finishing. He can't finish, bro. So
what happened to it? I mean, he used to be able to do it, and I know that it was in the German league, and I know that maybe the standards aren't quite as high, but the goalkeeping standards I don't feel like changed that much from league to league. So it's like, how is he going from like a goal every other game to where he is now?
I think he was playing the second striker. He wasn't the main striker, so he was always running off someone.
And he still missed chances then, except a lot of us weren't highlighted to it until he came to Chelsea. When he came to Chelsea, it kind of then we went, okay, here's Nicholas Jackson part 2, right? Or as they say. And then he's like, everyone will talk about, like, you watch him and Havertz. Why is Havertz the one playing up top when he's an attacking midfielder? But Havertz is a better finisher than him, right? You've seen the 2 goals he's taken tonight. You've seen how he's been playing. And we were all laughing at the 60 million, right? But yet, if out of the 2, Havertz had more key moments for Chelsea than what Werner did. I think Werner was like the semi-final, and that's the only game. Whenever you speak to Chelsea fans, they go, he worked hard, which he's been doing at Spurs. He will create. He just can't finish. And the problem is with Werner, he's getting in these great positions, which I think in an Ange system, some wingers will get in great positions. But if you're not finishing them, it's pointless you getting in them.
Yeah.
Because they're big moments in big games that he's getting. And for me, it's like what Ash alluded to earlier is actually, we do need to get Son's replacement.
We do.
Werner, everyone talks about the bench, but actually, Son is your bench player next year in talking terms, right? He's the one you rotate out, so you don't have to play him. It means that he can prolong his career with South Korea, and it can mean that he can prolong his career with Spurs. But both of us are using him so much, right? You can see the Asia Cup has got to him. Everyone's talking about his form recently, right? But he's just gone off to the Asia Cup. He had some hard games in that, and I mean, going to extra time and stuff. And then he's had to come straight back into the Spurs side because Richarlison's injured. We're not really scoring for fun. And if we're all being honest, we can't rely on Werner to score the goals, right? So he's getting the assist. So you're getting Johnson. So Johnson's been up and down. Johnson's been playing really well, right? Fair play to him. But you kind of we're going into this game on Sunday, and we're all going, actually, we don't know who our front three is going to be. The only thing we know is that Son's going to play up top. But there's an argument who the front three should be. There's an argument about who our midfielders should be. This is where we're at. And this is like, you're kind of going, okay.
I don't think there's an argument. I think the front three is going to be Werner, Son, and Johnson. I honestly think that.
I don't think it will be. I think I've got a feeling Kulu will come in. I guarantee, because
maybe sitting for 2 games, maybe that's what Kulu needed to kind of kickstart him. You know what I mean? Get him back into form.
Fair enough. Off the bench, it's not Matt. Like, I'm just
let's take the last game, right? If we're going off by the last game, that front three were terrible, and it was part of the reason why we were under so much pressure, because the ball, they kept, like, Werner doesn't finish off his chance. The ball doesn't stick to, when they are creating chances, Son loses the ball up top, and they're just putting so much pressure on our defense, who are fragile as it is.
It's funny because
where Kulu. Right, where Kulu keeps the ball when he's much stronger on the ball. I know it's more his final ball, which is the problem. But actually, when he's got it up top, majority of the time it sticks, and I think that's why he's all season, like, Andrew's gone with Kulu.
I think that's the reason why people have looked at Kulu and thought maybe we could play as a false nine, like as in if you
Maybe.
put the ball into him, it's going to stick. Like whereas you put it into Son, he kind of loses it in that position. Richarlison,
Because Kulu did do him, didn't he? And did try it one game. We did put Kulu in the balls. I can't remember who.
yeah. Last game, funny enough, he actually played Johnson up top for. He took Son off. He put Johnson on, and then he put Kulu as the right winger. But again, like it just wasn't really working. Hoiberg came on as well. Even him, like he had been coming on and been doing well. But that game was like a non-starter. He couldn't really find his rhythm and find the players. But it comes down to me. Sometimes it's the movement of the front three. If that's non-existent, or you've got Emerson Royal in the 8 position at times, and there's lack of movement in those pockets, and then Madison's trying to find a way in, like it's kind of congested in that area. Sometimes it's too packed, in my opinion. So maybe that's the reason why it didn't quite work out. But I mean, look, if Kulu did start and Johnson came off the bench, like that again is something to kind of kill Arsenal with. Because they might have tired legs, etc. And then you've got pace in behind and affect them in a different way.
So my biggest question to you is right. And I'll start with you, Ash. Is if we're gonna look, what weaknesses can Arsenal exploit from Spurs? Right, what are Arsenal's strengths? The things that we have to stop.
I don't know if you want me to go properly into it. You want me to go properly?
Yeah, of course.
Cool. All right, let's do it, man. So I was going to talk about their weaknesses first, but you want me to talk about their strengths. So I'm going to forward that. Yeah. For the game. Villa hurt them, obviously. We're going to go to West Ham versus Arsenal at the... I can't remember the name of their stadium. The West Ham Stadium.
London Stadium.
That's the easiest name. London Stadium. And in the London Stadium, what Arsenal were really good at was they were good at creating, I call, a box midfield where Ben White inverted and played a double pivot alongside.
They did this tonight, funny enough.
Yeah. He come inside and he did a double pivot with in this game with Rice. So that basically gave them control of the midfield. So when they did that, it kind of like confused West Ham because Odegaard could play slightly higher up. I've got Odegaard highlighted there in that area. And with Odegaard playing higher up, that kind of made them think that's Paqueta there on the like in between. There's Odegaard number 8. You can see the back of his shirt where my arrow is. Saka's just at the side of him. And then you've got Ben White there highlighted. Now, he's like, who do I go to? Do I go to him or who do I go to him? He's confused. Where do I mark? Who am I marking? And so that confusion there gives them space and time. As a result of that, Ben White should be in that shaded area where Saka is. So Saka's on the ball. And normally you would see like a Ben White overlapping. So Johnson from their fullback, he's like, wow, he's not there. Why isn't White there? What am I doing? I should be out there protecting. So he's tucked in, and that's allowed Saka some freedom and space to run into. And then you can see Odegaard in that little space at the edge of the area, in that pocket, in that area where that danger zone is. Ben White would, like I said, Ben White would not be there. So that's that box I was talking about, the box midfield, which gives them more numbers in the middle and allows them to dominate the midfield. And that gives them control and it gives them an overload in that particular space. So that could be a problem for Spurs. Trossard saw the space as well. So Trossard sometimes dropped in that. He actually played as a number 9 in that game, but he sometimes dropped in the hole and also played as a false 8, if that's what you want to call it. West Ham were quite lazy in this game. This is why they got punished. They weren't aggressive in the press. They weren't aggressive in the midfield. They allowed Arsenal time in that possession. And that's where Spurs could be vulnerable. If we're not aggressive in the press in that midfield, Arsenal could dominate and play their way through. Again, Ben White has left that space all vacant. And so, like, Johnson's not saying, I should be in that area. Like, I could run in that as a fullback. I could be occupying that area. Equally, Kudos could be in that area as well. He could drop in that space and exploit that area. But yeah, they're more concerned about Arsenal being in that area. Here's another example. Gabriel switching the play. Havertz is there, right there in the middle, and he occupies in between the lines. And so their fullback is drawn, and their centre back's worrying about, is he going to run in between them? Is he going to run in between the fullback and centre back, which then gives space for Martinelli out on the left. On this case, like Chelsea, they just played Arsenal, and obviously that was Trossard on the left. But for this particular game against Burnley, when they peppered them 5-0, it was Martinelli. So in this particular area, it's a 6'6", and Arsenal win those second balls between Rice and Odegaard's pressing. They're the ones, and even Havertz. When they press aggressively. They win the second ball, and that's something we also have to be aware of in that midfield. Sometimes we could have the ball, they try to switch it, we try to press, win the ball back, but then they're on the second ball. Havertz gets the ball, he's actually allowed to turn, and then he's allowed to find Odegaard in space. Odegaard's in space, that is a problem. He's free to roam, he passes it into Saka. Saka's obviously attacking that particular space. And then from that area, you can see that Saka will just finish his dinner. Ben White and Odegaard interchanging in the midfield. So what happens here is Ben White obviously inverts, and this is higher up the pitch. Odegaard is there in the same line as that. Now, in positional play, you're not meant to be on the same line. So Arteta doesn't like that. Basically, what Ben White does is he checks his shoulders, he looks left, he looks right, sees that he's in the same space as Odegaard, and then he basically makes a fake run. He makes a false run, and when he makes that run, he gives space for Odegaard to get on the ball, and Odegaard can do what Odegaard does best, literally dribble in, find that player in space, and then execute. And so Spurs have to be really, really attentive to this, because Ben White and Odegaard having that relationship, Ben White playing like he's not a typical fullback where you see a fullback go on the outside. He's doing what, we want our fullbacks to do, come on the inside. And that's confusing teams, and they're getting a numerical overload. And that's when Odegaard gets on the ball, he's able to find the runners. Havertz is on the ball, and he's able to finish his dinner. Liverpool 3-1. Ben White and Saliba are trying to draw the press. So this is what they do. They get on the ball. You see White there, he's in between the two players, and they're trying to draw in Jota into the press. That's what they're trying to do. So the ball from Gabriel into Saliba into Gabriel. Gabriel finds their fullback, Kivior, out there, and then that gives Arsenal the advantage, because in the midfield, they're trying to draw Liverpool as much as possible high up the pitch. And the reason why they're trying to draw them high up the pitch is so they can get in behind and can create space. But what you can see at the corner of the screen, you can see Odegaard number 8 there, Havertz number 8 there. So they act like two false nines, if that makes sense. So because they're playing in, they're not playing with like an orthodox striker in this particular game against Liverpool, that is a trouble, because again, they're overloading that midfield. Once they overload that midfield, Odegaard drops in, finds Havertz. He plays it back just to beat the press, and then that allows a pass down the flank into, again, Martinelli, I think this was. But again, this could be Trossard on this occasion, because you saw how well he played tonight. And then you've got VDB. He's actually in two minds in this particular incident, because he doesn't know whether to step in the midfield and hold that position, or to drop off. And so because of that, that's when spaces start to open up, indecisiveness starts to happen. The ball gets played into Odegaard. Odegaard does a first-time pass, and Havertz is on the move. As soon as the ball goes into Odegaard, as you were saying, Marlon, we need someone that's going to be tight to him, so it doesn't allow him freedom and allows these type of passes from happening. Havertz is running, and that's when he gets on the ball. Havertz should finish, kind of parries, the keeper parries it, and then it goes into Saka, and Saka just is ready to pounce on that chance, and he finishes it in the back of the net. Arsenal ripped open Newcastle. So did we at home, to be fair. But again, this is a different scenario. But the example I showed before was a formation I called the 4-2-4, where you've got, again, you've got a box midfield. With this one, they've got, it's more of a 4-2-3-1. And Jorginho is really important to this system. Rice obviously does what Rice does, presses aggressively. So whoever's on the ball, whoever number 6 is, they're going to be super aggressive. You can see Rice is trying to get on the ball and cause a disruption. They win the ball back. Jorginho, he's a little bit deeper than Rice. Rice is making the forward run there. And then what Jorginho can do, he can spray balls over the top, into the channels, over the flanks, anytime he wants. And so that's something we need to be aware of if Jorginho plays. Here's a nice ball he picked out for I think this was Martinelli, actually. Ben White doing what Ben White does, making that false run as a number 8 into the channel, taking the attention of the centre backs. You can see there's a back 3 there. They're all looking at Ben White, thinking, what's Ben White doing? Havertz is there taking up a position, but then it's Martinelli that comes across, and he's the one that finishes the goal. Just there from another angle, just showing that particular finish. But again, they've got more than one way to basically open up teams. They've got players that can, play from deep, that can find balls from over the top, and then also they've got players like Odegaard that can make things happen. He can get on the ball, find balls from deep, and you can sometimes what Odegaard does. Sometimes he plays as a fullback, a bit like what Maddison does. Sometimes he plays as a 6. Odegaard started to do that. I felt like Arsenal were watching our tactics, like saying, right, I like how Maddison drops in and he picks up the ball. Odegaard does that. But then sometimes when Jorginho's in there, Odegaard doesn't necessarily do that. He can stay higher up. And Jorginho's the one that can play from deep. They've got different ways to open up teams. And so that's something we need to be like really, really, wise to.
Colin, where do you know? After seeing watching that, what Ash has broken down, where do you think Arsenal are going to hurt us?
Well, he brought up so many points. I'm glad there's actual data and stuff to point out, just stuff that I think I see when I'm watching matches. But we're always second. Anytime there's a 50-50, we're second to it every time. So that's one thing that if they are tighter on that than we are, we're going to be in a world of hurt. They're going to be able to dictate the midfield. We need to fight really hard for those 50-50 balls, every single one of them. But it's the North London Derby. Of course we will. What's up, Alex? And then what else we got? I was also going to say, the 50-50s are really important. Another thing is we're going to have to follow our shots. I think it was against Liverpool, the goal they scored against Liverpool, where had they not had someone following in the initial shot, the keeper would have parried it away, the defense would have cleared it. But they had somebody up there that went and followed the shot in. We don't really do that either. That's another thing I feel like we could really improve upon. We'd look a lot better if we took more shots and then followed those shots in. It's like elementary stuff you learn when you're a kid. But our boys are not doing it for some reason. So, yeah, that was a brilliant breakdown from Ash, man. Appreciate it.
Before I bring Alex in, I've got a drop. Alex is coming to replace me for the next hour. So Ash, he's partner in crime. Alex, behave yourself. Right?
Is that
Positive, behave. So I'm going to drop. But Alex, welcome. The question for you before I drop is, how are Arsenal going to hurt us, right? But I'm gone. Please catch me on We Are Tottenham TV for the watch along on Sunday. And don't forget,
that'd be awesome, dude.
And I'll let Ash explain everything that's going on the channel this week and everything else. But yeah, thanks all, and laters.
Laters, Marlon.
Laters, bro. See you, bro.
One. Yes, box office. Talk to me, man.
What was the question? Sorry.
He said, "How can Arsenal damage Spurs?" And I haven't even spoken about set pieces, by the way. But yeah, go on.
Easily, because the fact is, by the way, it's good to be back on Spurs Kings TV. By the way, the only reason why I'm on is because I like Ashmatic and I like Marlon, even though he's had a go at me cheekily, but I still like him anyway. Who's underrated, by the way. So that's the only reason, because I kept myself quiet. I'm trying to improve my channel, and that's it. Because to be honest with you, the season's over. I've got to be honest. Yeah, I think Arsenal can hurt us everywhere, absolutely everywhere. Now I've literally changed, because I thought this was going to be 2-2 or 1-1, a draw. But now I'm looking at it now. They can hurt us in attack, even though they've got useless strikers. They've got players that can do it. I mean, I've got to take. I'm kind of changing on Odegaard. Odegaard can hurt us easily. Rice can hurt us easily. That defense is looking better than ours, looking better than us. And I'll be honest, the fact that they can hurt us at corners as well. And the fact is, we've got such useless strikers. I'm not going to talk about the strikers again because because everyone knows what I feel about the strikers, other than Son. Even though I don't like him as a captain, they'll score goals better than us. They've got goals all over the place as well, so they'll hurt us all day long. So I think they'll beat us easily. Because I think we'll miss our chances easily. Yes, we'll have a good defense, but it will crumble. It will crumble under pressure. And they've just beaten Chelsea 6-0. You know what I mean? We haven't had a game for 2 weeks.
I hate that. I hate that we haven't played.
It's only one way this is going. This is only one way this is going, and that's it. And it's going to be a defeat. I should have warned the audience. You're not going to like me. You're not going to like me. Yeah, you're not going to like Mr. Box Office. I'm your nightmare. Your nightmare, yeah? Because I'm just going to warn you straight away. Because I'm sorry, I just can't see any more than that. You know what I mean? I just can't see any more than that, and that's it. Because I'm sorry, this is just a recipe for disaster. Absolute recipe for disaster. I'm sorry, that midfield's not even playing well either. So I'm sorry, and they even got Jorginho playing well as well, and he's in his retirement end as well, man. Honestly, I've never heard such absolute. I mean, honestly, it's done. It's finished. I'm sorry. I just think they can hurt us everywhere on the pitch. I'm sorry. Defense, they're better than us. I wouldn't say the goalkeeper at the moment. The midfield's definitely better than us at the moment, and yeah, they'll score goals. Regardless whether their strikers are absolutely useless, Jesus and everything else, but they're better than us. And Trossard as well. I mean, that's competing. Trossard.
We could have had him. We could have had him.
Competing, unlike someone that we know that I call the below average Shane Long, but I'm not going to say who his name is because you know who I'm talking about, don't you? You know what I mean? You know. So that's it. Back to you, Usman. I'm done.
All right, my brother. Blessings. I want to big up our new guest on the show. How's it going, my brother? Chris Meta Football. The question is, we're going straight in the deep end. How can Arsenal hurt Spurs?
I think Alex has done a great job there. I mean, they're going to hurt us all over the park. But as I always say, the engine is the mid, and our mid is looking atrocious. I mean, yeah, we can mop it up at the back all you want, but they're going to hurt us in the mid. For me, because you know, if you want to rely on Biss coming back and doing a solid job, I don't think that's going to happen. Bentancur is the only one that's got, you know, any bit of brain on him to move, you know, to dictate the team. If he doesn't have a good day, then we're done for. Højbjerg is not that type of player, and Maddison, he hasn't been too shifty. So I think we're going to suffer in the mid, and that, you know, as I put in the chat earlier, thank you for putting that up. I don't think it's going to be a very rosy day on Saturday. I can't see it, but not because Arsenal are, you know, so overpowering and so that, you know, all props to them. I mean, on a football, you know, let's leave rivalries, you know, to one side. On a footballing level, yeah, they make mistakes as well, and they can be hurt. They were hurt on the counter attack by Chelsea tonight. Chelsea could have got, you know, I wasn't watching the whole match, but they could have scored. They didn't have a great, you know, they didn't have a great game, but they can be hurt. I just think that through our downfall, for our own implosion, I think Chelsea will come out on top because of our faults. So, you know, that's just basically how I see it.
Colin, I know you said a little bit. Do you want to add anything else on the top of that? Do you think, is there any other way that Arsenal could hurt us as well? I mean, I said set pieces.
I was feeling a lot better about this match before I listened to y'all start talking about it. No, I mean, set pieces. God, set pieces are a scary one. That's something I hadn't even begun to consider. Set pieces, man. We always get done for on a set piece. It seems like, and it comes to us never getting our head to the ball first. It seems like no matter where it's coming from, one of their players will always get their head to the ball before ours. I don't understand. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the day. It depends on who's coming to play. It depends on who's ready, who's up for it from the get-go. But yeah, the boys are right. We can get hurt everywhere. We'll probably be the architects of our own downfall if it's the Spurs I know and love.
So I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to go back to you, Mr. Box Office. What can we do to hurt Arsenal? Is there any way we can hurt them? And if so, how?
We've got to score our chances. And I don't believe that we can score our chances. That's it for me. The midfield as well got to be better as well. But at the moment, Maddison for me has been a flop at the moment. Bentancur, like I said, has been growing on me, but he was absolutely rubbish last time, to be honest with you. But I think he's different gravy to some of the midfielders we've got, and he's got mentality as well. And that's me saying this when I called him a reject a couple of years ago. Yeah, so that shows me how he's growing on me. And then you got Sarr. He's young, so I'll give him that. Basuma's not playing well, but I'm not going to go on his back right now because everyone's chomping a bit with him at the moment. So, and Højbjerg is bang average. You know what I mean? Does a job, and that's it. So I think he'll do a job, but that's all he does is a job. I think actually he'd be good for this game actually because I think at least he's got a little bit of mentality, and that's it. The strikers, I've got confidence in Son to score goals. The fact that people say that we're missing Richarlison, honestly, this below average Emoweski, I'm gonna laugh. But I mean, honestly, we're desperate, aren't we? So I mean, yeah, maybe there's an argument he can use his strength to keep the ball up. You know what I mean? So maybe that might help. He might but I'm sorry, Saliba and Gabriel. I'm told he's having the best season going this season. So by Arsenal fans. So I mean, they're not stupid, those two defenders, aren't they? And then you've got Ben White. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they've got their left back as well. What is his name? Kiviol? Is it Kiviol?
Yeah.
Polish guy,
Yeah.
Because the other guy's not. He's a bit unreliable, and that's it. So, but we have to try and win that midfield battle. I'm not looking us to be defensively great because at the end of the day we're attacking team, and he wants us to take risks. So he want us to take risks. So I think we've got to have to be more stronger in terms of taking our chances when we get it. I think we have to play on the counter. I think we might have to play on the counter, be a bit clever, and take our chances, and that's it. Because I think that's where Chelsea today didn't really help themselves. You know what I mean? If you can be on the counter, and if we can take our chances, I think that will hurt Arsenal a little bit more than we missing our chances. You know what I mean? Because I think we'll be letting goals easily. I think we will let in goals. I am a bit worried about Van der Ven because I think that hamstring is going to be clicking. I've got to be honest. So
just to bring you back in, Chris. Don't know what call is, but how do you think the fan base will react to a loss if that happens? If it's a heavy loss as well, how do you think?
I'm still here, by the way. Sorry about that.
Are you still there? Yeah.
Yeah. Still here.
Yeah. How does the fan base react? I mean, to a loss or to a heavy loss, or what do you mean? Clarify, Ash.
Yeah, heavy loss, bro.
Oh, heavy loss.
Heavy loss.
I don't know. I mean, I think that there's a lot of part of the fan base is already disenchanted with how it's going anyway. So I mean, one more loss. I don't know. There's a lot of fan base.
Since it is against the Arsenal, though, man.
Yeah, I know, I understand that, but I mean, it is another loss, and I mean, I can't talk for the people and the good fan base, and I've got good brothers and sisters that go to the match, because it's different watching it on the telly, it's different watching it in the pub, or and different watching it in my from my perspective from afar. I don't have that emotional connection when you're at the stadium. So obviously the outcome is going to be different. A loss is a loss, yes. A thumping is a thumping, yes. But emotions are different. Will it be Ange out? Will it be this geezer's useless? And you need man marking on defending corners. And man, I look at things differently. I mean, I don't know how the fan base is going to react to honestly answer your question, Ash. But I just think a lot of the fan base are going to be very disenchanted, and a bit more. Others will say it's his first season, we're building it in Ange we trust. I think there's a lot of division within the fan base as well, in my opinion, and from afar. from what I see on streams, what I see in chats, what I see from personal comments that people make to me, I really don't know, because I think there's a lot of sections. There's a lot of people that have their own opinions on it, and you know, I really don't know. I think there's a mixed bag, to be honest, Ash.
Cole, if you're still there, yeah. What do you
Yeah.
think? Do you think there's a chance that, you know, fans will start to lose patience with Ange because there'll be 2 losses on the trot? And again, if that high line is the reason why we're losing, they're going to start, you know, the rhetoric is that, you know, he doesn't adapt, he doesn't change. And it takes 2 or 3 goals for us to react at times, for the manager to call some subs on. Do you think they will start to call for Ange's head? Because we have heard in the stadium a couple boos at half time. So
yeah, absolutely, man. I think that there's always going to be a contingent of the fan base that excuse me, that thinks that they they know what the team needs. Everybody at the end of the day just wants what's best for the team. We just want to see us win some matches. And style would be nice, but just to win it all, you know, we just want to have some positivity. And yeah, there'll always be a section that are going to be calling for Ange's head after a couple losses. I think Ange did himself a disservice by doing as well as he did at the beginning of his tenure, because expectations rose because of that. At the beginning of the season, how many people were saying mid-table finish, improvement in the style of play, a cup run, which I understand we didn't get, but a cup run, and I'm happy. And now it looks like we might finish in a Champions League spot. We are seeing that style of play kind of come together, but yet.
Do you think we'll still finish Champions League spot? If
we're gonna have to win. I mean, if we don't win against Arsenal, we can't. But I think is it? Let me do the math. I mean, it's still in our hands, right? I'm not a complete.
I mean, if we lose against Arsenal and Villa win their next game, they're going to be 9 points ahead of us.
Gotcha. But still, I think if you look at the beginning of this season and ask yourself like what you would have been happy with. But anyway, no, the team's never going to be happy losing to Arsenal under any manager, under any circumstances. So yeah, there will be people that turn on the manager. But I don't think it's going to be. I think it'll be a loud minority of people. I don't think it's going to be like, anywhere even near half the fan base. Everybody, I think, understands this is going to take time, and we were looking at it ourselves. The team selection, we don't exactly have all-star team to choose from. So
cool.
Can I say something?
Go on.
Can I just say something?
Yeah, go on.
You know what I feel about Ange Postecoglou, yeah, right? Yeah. But I've always backed him because I've always backed what he said in June, and he stuck to what he said in June, right? He's told us, right? I always said this was a build season, right? I didn't care what league position we got, and I don't really care where we are at the moment. You know what I mean? If the fan base go mad, say Ange out after he lose, they're not going to do anything, right? Because if they do anything right now, right, look who's going to look right. It's going to be me, right? Why I said I was skeptical in the first place. Yeah, so they're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything because they look like weasels. Sorry, yeah, weasels. That's what I'll call them, weasels. Yeah, what they'll do, they'll put their cards marked. That's what they'll do, right? Right, and then we'll see whether they've got the nerve to stick with their man next season. That's what they'll say. You know what I mean? Because Ange just told them this. They said that things gonna go wrong. You know what I mean? So he's been very, very honest. You know what I mean? This is why I don't really understand the whole thing about adapting. Because again, he said that he needed time to see how it goes. And he said that, wait till next season. So even I'm listening to him, I don't even like the guy again. You know what I mean? So it's like, again, I'm listening to him and, that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? We said this is a 4-year plan as well, yeah? So a 4-year plan says give it time. Again, you know what I mean? That's why I said I'm skeptical because, again, it's like that's what I'm saying. So this game, cool. If we lose the game, we lose the game. Cool. It won't make no difference because the fact is, even if we got Champions League, we're putting more pressure on us next season to do better next season. That's why I said I don't really care about Champions League because what are we going to do in Champions League? Diddly squat. You know what I mean? Because what did we do last time? We had a bang average group. Yeah, we didn't even have Barcelona, Real Madrid. I went to all the games. Yeah, I had to watch Marseille. I had to watch was it Frankfurt? Yeah, I didn't even get Real Madrid at my club at my stadium. Yeah, didn't even get to see Mbappe at my stadium. Yeah, you know what I mean? I had to see AC Milan literally do a score draw and that's it. You know what I mean? We literally flop it. You know, I'd rather see us in Europa League and Europa Conference League because I learn more about my players and my manager in those competitions and the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup and the league than I'm watching Champions League where we're going to flop again. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying. Listen, I'm not telling people what to say. Yeah, because I need to see this fan base go mad and see what our owners say. Yeah, then we'll see whether this is real. But it's just the whole thing about telling Ange what to do and what how did that work out with Conte, bro? How did that work out with Conte, Ashmatic? How did that work out with Mourinho? Yeah, didn't work well, didn't it? You know what I mean? So if anybody understands what I'm talking about, but am I making a point here?
Yeah, no, this is it. This is the whole point. Is for me, like there is a potential that there could be a mini massacre on the horizon. If, for example, I'm not saying we get punched up by Arsenal. I don't think that will happen. But if we lose against Arsenal, and then we have to play like your Man City, your Chelsea, Man Cities, and your Liverpools, and we don't get result against any of them, because let's face it, our record at Liverpool at Anfield isn't the best. In fact, it's horrendous. You look at where we go to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge over the last few seasons, well, more than the last few seasons, it's not looked really good. Man City, they have beaten us at home. They've actually got on over the hoodoo. They beat us in the FA Cup, and they're pushing for a title. I think all the teams, other than Chelsea, they're all pushing back to win a title. And obviously, Poch has got a point to prove against his old employers, and he's going to want to teach Levy a lesson. So there is a potential that Mr. Box Office might be right, that, you know, there might be a mini meltdown if things don't go our way. But do you see any way, Chris, that, you know, we do ride this storm, the players go up for it? Is there any way out? Do you see like any positive signs? Can we get in behind? Can we defeat Arsenal?
Yeah, I mean, there is some light at the end of this small little tunnel that we've got until Saturday. Of course there is. We've got a manager that inspires confidence, and if he doesn't see it, he's going to kick the hell out of his players for it, because I believe that that's what he does. And we've heard that from Sonny. I mean, whoever's seen that the interview that he's done a couple of weeks ago or 10 days ago, he says that when he needs to get angry, he does, and that inspires him. And even though he's not the most, you know, aggressive kind of player in himself, and we know that he's not Roy Keane, he's, you know, he takes that on board, and he appreciates the fact that he gets, you know, angry, and that he rallies his players up. And we've all seen his speeches from where he was at, you know, other clubs or whatever it was, or the Australian team, and that. So he can get. I think he gets his messages across, and, you know, it's all up to the players. But what I think is that the way we need to overcome Arsenal definitely is obviously tactically, that we need to counter press properly. We need to regain the ball, and we need to finish our opportunities, as Alex said. That is the only way that the light can really shine at the end of the tunnel. If not, there's nothing really we can do about it. It's really in our hands. So because you're up against a very good team, and, you know, as I said before, rivalry apart, Arsenal are a very good team. They're looking very good this season, and they are up for winning the league. I mean, if they win it, props to them. I mean, you know, it's football at the end of the day. It's not, you know, head in the bucket or head in the sand. My God, Arsenal have won. Really, we're not in that league. We can't really complain and say, God, they've taken the league off us. We're not in a league that like they are. You know, they're up against two juggernauts as well, like City and Liverpool. And if they win it, it's because they deserve it. We're up against that with a half-baked team, you know, that isn't functioning properly. We're like, you know, with one crooked leg or one, you know, half-broken leg against a team that's functioning. And I mean, you know, it's very, very difficult. Is there like, of course, as I said before, of course, it's a North London derby. In one game, anything can happen in one game. They could get a red card. They could get their keeper sent off. We could get 0-0 in 89 minutes and get a goal. I don't know. God knows what. Anything can happen. I mean, football is football.
Lamelo's gone, so the chances of them getting a red card just drop significantly. So
but football is football. At the end of the day, it's a funny old game. So you know what I mean. It's difficult. It's going to be difficult, even if we play at home. But I mean, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. But can we win? Yeah. But I think it's going to be difficult.
Hey, real quick, this is a lame question. What program? Tactical pad? Is that what this program is called?
Yeah, tactical pad. This is what I expect.
It looks legit.
Yeah, basically, we're going to have the ball. The two centre backs will split. Vicario will come out, and he'll be like the third centre back. What I expect Arsenal to do is, you saw it tonight. You saw Havertz pressing the left back aggressively, and you saw Odegaard pressing also in this position. So this is what we might start to see. Martinelli might not start. It might be Trossard that starts there because of his performance. I thought he was electric today, but Odegaard's he's the main man. But they press in a kind of like, if I'm being honest, more like a 4-4-2 shape.
Yeah, your six has to fall in. Your six has to fall in between Odegaard and Havertz.
Yeah,
I'm very impressed with Trossard.
Yeah,
I'm very impressed with Trossard.
He's very good, isn't he?
He proves what I'm talking about, competing. Yeah, Martinelli's not had a great season this season. Look at Trossard. Puts performances after performances. Now he's like the first team now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he has to start.
He's always been class, whether he's performed or not. I mean, and he's had the opportunities to this season, Alex. He has been a class player, and he always has been. I mean, you can just see him at Brighton, and you see him this year.
Yeah.
He is a class player, whether he comes off the bench or whether he starts. It's very good. You know?
No, but that's what I'm saying. He's competing. That's what I'm saying. Competing.
Put himself back into contention to be the starter.
You know what I mean? It's not even like he's getting Martinelli thinking. Well, I'm not performing well. Well, you're out the team now.
Oh yeah, he's taking his opportunities. Yeah,
I agree. And I think like where we need to be clever is, so if Basuma's the man, what did I press that for? If Basuma's the man in the hole to collect the ball, they're going to be wise onto that. So I think Rice will be pressing Basuma quite aggressively, and then Saka will be pressing also there. So sometimes it will look like a 3 rather than a 4-4-2 with Jorginho sitting off. I think between Sarr and Maddison, they're going to have to come and collect the ball at times. In my opinion.
Because Maddison plays deep anyway. He has been known to play deep anyway.
Yes, he does play deep. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to see Arsenal push a little bit higher up. So they're so
we're playing behind.
And White will invert. So White's going to invert there. And Kivior will create a back 3 right here. So that has the opportunity for Werner to have all this space here. So sometimes, rather than playing the ball into Maddison and Maddison trying to get on a half turn and spraying the ball, which he doesn't really do as much, I wouldn't mind if Vicario went straight into Werner, into this area, and we went a little bit direct, as opposed to playing it out from the back at times with Arsenal trying to press aggressively. As we saw what happened with Chelsea tonight, they were like dismantled. But I have seen Spurs play out the back. We do play it out the back quite well. But I'm just saying, as an alternative, if they do have
bypass that press completely.
Yeah, if they have a back 3 and they're pressing up like this, then the space is going to be there to be had. Son will obviously drop into a false 9 position, and you'll see Maddison trying to find Son in that hole, and he will help out in that midfield area. But I just think what we could do is find space. Again, Kivior, it might not be him. It might be the Japanese guy, Tomiyasu. Because Tomiyasu, again, he was playing really well. He won the ball high up. He was aggressive. He won the ball. He's pinching the ball there. So there's a lot of problems that could happen for Spurs. But again, I go back to the actual space where we could actually hurt them.
I think that's a good thing that you just said, Smatic. But the problem is, it's Werner. If I was Son there, like you saw what he done against Man City. Listen, whatever I say about Son as a captain, this guy can score goals. Yeah, and he can. I'll be deluded if I didn't think that. You know what I mean? Yeah, because he's proven it every single time. Even proven it last season when he didn't even have a great season last season. Yeah, but it's a great option because it makes Arsenal think. But Werner,
The thing
he
is,
might get past the bar line, but he has a nosebleed when he gets in front of goal.
I don't actually want Werner to score. I want Werner just to get here. That's what I want. I don't want Werner here. I want Werner here, and I want Sonny to get in the end of it. I want Kulu to arrive at the back post, or sometimes if Kulu cuts across and he's there and Son's there, that's what I want. I don't want the ball from Werner. You want him to get to the byline. Everyone complains, "Oh, we're tapping FC." Let's be tapping FC on Sunday. Let's be tapping FC. I like this pattern of play, and I think if that space is available and we've got all of this area to attack, then why not? That's my.
And it works. It works. It's shown that it works, and then we don't have to do that horseshoe around the defense. Just
but that's on low block. That's on low blocks, Colin. Well, you're not going to have a low block against Arsenal, I'm sure, because I don't think that we're going to have the ball as much as we'd like to. Because that what you've just put on there, Ash, and that's brilliant. I love that thing. I'm going to have to look into that. That is that overload in the middle. We're going to have to overcome that overload. And if we play like we did against Newcastle, we're not going to see the ball. Because the passes in, like the long balls into, like from Vicario playing into Maddison, his first touch was awful because he noticed the pressure from the Newcastle players. They were all over him, and they were playing like almost like they were covering. They weren't playing a man to man marking on him, but they were covering him. And even with that cover, he noticed that that draft down his neck, and he's like, if I lose this, I've lost the ball.
Yeah.
I think it's annoying that someone like Lo Celso's the problem I've got at the moment, our midfield. I wish that I've seen more what people are seeing in Lo Celso at the moment, because I just think at the moment he's missing. I think he's missing a trick at the moment, Lo Celso. Even though I think he's just twerking to leave. That's the problem with him at the moment. But I just think Lo Celso at the moment, I think he could make an effect on this game.
You have to play on the right line.
Can do it.
I think you'd have to be on the right, because I think Ash might agree with me on this, because I think we said the same thing last week, that he's too left-footed. He has to always get on his left foot. So to be effective, he'd probably have to play more on the right of mid to be able to filter passes out to have more space.
Unless he played as a deep lying,
but Jesus,
play, etc.
You'd have to get over that. You'd have to get over that.
I think because Dan from Hotspur Hood says that he's played a deep line midfielder, Bentancur, and I just think at the moment, I'm only saying this because I think he's growing on me at the moment. I just think he's got this mentality of don't want to lose, and I think he'll be great in that. I think we've got to try something at the moment, because Basuma at the moment for me is not that guy for me. You know what I mean?
No.
And Sarr, I don't know whether he'd just be better as an 8, and that's it. And I just think, you could try him maybe. I don't think you can lose anything at the moment. You know what I mean? And then try, even if you had somebody like, even if I wouldn't even mind a midfielder, Bentancur. I'll say Lo Celso at the moment, but he needs to show me more, right? And Højbjerg, and that's me saying that, and I think he's bang average. You know what I mean? Because I think at least Højbjerg will work hard, and he will make them know that he's in the game.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. I said we should do like a 4-2-3-1. Sorry, a 4-2. No, not 4-2. A 3-2-4-1, where you got a back three, and then you don't have to worry about the fullbacks inverting, because you get coverage from all three centre backs. 2 of the centre backs pull super wide. Then you've got the centre back playing like a regista, like almost like a holding midfielder that can push up at times. That you've got the 2 centre backs to cover, and then you've got 2 defensive mids protecting. And I said in that 2 defensive mids, you have Sarr and Højbjerg, only because Basuma has been underperforming. I agree, and with Basuma underperforming and Højbjerg coming in, maybe that teaches Basuma a lesson to say, look, you're not always going to be like, you may be dropped here and there. And him watching from the sidelines, he might be able to learn a little bit more. Like, because I've seen Højbjerg on the sidelines come on the pitch and perform better maybe that could work for Basuma. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But again, like a box office was saying, maybe he's got a bit more Viking, a bit more mentality, a bit more grit, more determination about him. He's going to be getting stuck in the challenges. And then I do like the fact that he can spray balls from deep. And again, when it comes to like playing out from the back, we can bypass Højbjerg because we know Maddison and Sarr will drop for the ball, pick up the ball in the transition, and then we can progress the ball. And then if you've got Bentancur, I think he's got good feet. I think he's got good fishing, good passing. He can shoot. We saw he scored against Manchester United. If you've got him in the pocket where normally you've got Porro there, but you've got Bentancur there instead, then we might be more assertive in that particular area. And if Udogie is not available, and all of a sudden Maddison's in that pocket as well in the number 8 position, then he's closer to the goal. Maybe he can provide through balls for Son or a through ball to Werner or Johnson or vice versa. So then you've got Johnson and Werner still playing out wide. You still don't lose that width. And then you've got Son as the number 1 in behind in the 4-2-3-1. So that's basically what I was trying to say.
But Johnson and Werner are going to be very, very important with their pace, though. That's what
exactly.
I don't really want Werner. I don't really want Werner there, to be honest with you.
I don't really want him for finishing. Like I said, finishing wise, it doesn't really make sense. But him as a winger, it makes sense. You know what I mean? So I'll just bring it up real quick again. So if you can see that we've got the three at the back, Romero playing as a DM at times, but we play in the back three. We're able to play out the back. They're not going to press us like that. Then you've got Sarr. He's got coverage of the pitch. You've got Højbjerg. He's able to spray the balls, but he's got the aggression. So then he might be high up the pitch. So all of these players that all high up the pitch. And we've got protection. We've got a back 5 there. That's almost like a back 5 protecting if we lose the ball. But then the front 5 is these lot. So you've got a shooter in Bentancur. You've got a shooter in Maddison. You've got a shooter in Son, a finisher. So now you've got 3 players that might be able to finish or even create. And then Johnson and Werner, you still get the pace in behind. You still got that counter-attacking ability. And it's not that 3-5-2 that, you know, people associate with Conte or 3-4-3. It's slightly a hybrid between a counter-attacking team that you got from Conte, but then you still got the aggression and the high pressing and the front-footedness of Ange ball. I mean, high up the pitch. This team will be up the pitch. You know what I mean? And at times, we don't have to be in the halfway line. We can drop a couple of yards. And the reason why you drop the couple of yards is because it allows more space in the midfield. So from attacking position, the midfield are not going to be too congested, because sometimes we squeeze the pitch and we look really crowded higher up the pitch, in my opinion. So that's the reason why I would say, like, maybe sometimes in the game, in-game management, you can drop the line a little bit back, not because you're worried about Arsenal, what they could do in the transition, more because you want to have more space, more freedom in the pitch. But real quick, I wanted to bring up this little video just to say what, you know, the problems that Arsenal faced against Bayern Munich, because they did drop points at the Emirates. And at the Emirates, they had a full stadium of Arsenal fans. Not one Bayern Munich fan was in there. But again, Bayern Munich was able to break their 4-4-2 press in the quick transitions. How did they do that? They did that. And as you can see here, sorry, just to go back onto it, you've got Saka there in the 4-4-2. And in the front 2 are Havertz and Odegaard. And there's the cover shadow. You can see a little shadow there. The cover shadow's there. There's Eric Dyer on the far right. And then there's a centre-back, De Ligt, and the other centre-back. So there's the 3 centre-backs. They've got to cover. They can only cover 2 because one centre-back there is free, because Bayern Munich are playing a back 3. So he leaves one man free, and the goalkeeper's even acting as an active player, an outfield player. So then you've got 2-man overload. That's how you beat the press. If Arsenal want to go man for man, they want to press you high up. Now we've got 2 men to kind of get out of that press, if that makes sense. Then Neuer playing as a centre-back, he's able to flick it over the head of
I remember that
Havertz, and that's how they got out of the press. Then, as I said before, they play with a back 3 with Saliba, Gabriel, and Rice. All the teams do it. Even Man City do it with a back 3. Liverpool do it with a back 3. It says 4-3-3, but they turn into a back 3 in the transition. It's a 3-2-5, I believe. Odegaard again plays a full back right there in that particular position, and he's dropping in that bit. And that's when you see Ben White. Ben White pushes high up, and that's where I think the space is in behind. You can see the 3 centre backs there, like 1, 2, 3 in that particular area. And that's where the space could be exploited. Playing as a right back to find a space, I put that down there. And then that's what happened. Because they were trying to press, They made a mistake. All of a sudden, the out ball straight away. That's what they want to do. They want to play a ball long. I can imagine Johnson being there on the right hand side. Obviously,
That's what I was. Sorry to interrupt you. That's what I was saying. I think it was in the chat, Ash. If the counter press is correctly implemented and we can regain the ball, you've got players like Johnson that with their speed, right, can absolutely muller Arsenal, right, because he's such a great player on the counter, right. But I just don't think that we are mentally in the game. We're not doing that so well. And I don't think that those opportunities are going to arise because they're going to be so good in midfield. We're not countering as we should, which is why we got done against Newcastle, because the counter press wasn't implemented effectively enough. That's basically.
I think the difference between, and I'm not saying this is obviously Bayern Munich, so it's a really bad.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah,
it's a really bad example because we haven't got Sane and we haven't got their level elite wingers.
No, we don't.
So I'm not calling Johnson by any means an elite winger. I'm just saying. He's got pace. He can get in behind. The space is there to exploit it. But the difference is between Newcastle and your Wolves and your Brightons, we had a lot of the possession and we were front-footed. So we were basically Arsenal, and then they did that to us. In this game, I feel like Arsenal will come onto us, and that will suit us because if Arsenal come onto us, that's when that purple shaded area will become available. Now, whether we do that, whether we're in the right mind state. Or if we're not in the right, like none of the players should be wearing the Tottenham's.
No, but that's what I'm saying. If you don't implement the counter press properly, right, both tactically and mentally, because you've got to be there, you've got to be in the right place at the right time, and you've got to be willing to do it, and and you should be fired up to do an awful, to play an awful lot. Well, then if you don't do that, and if you're not there, and if you don't implement it, you may as well just give them the ball back. There's no point in playing because it all has to be in unison. It all has to be done properly. So a lot of people call it the Gegenpress, but it's a counter press, right? Basically. So it has to be done properly. If not, there's no point.
It just showed me that in that game that Arsenal's defense can be got at if they're tested. And
every defense can be got at. Yeah, I'm sure we can agree.
So here's another example. Arsenal on the ball. So what you're seeing here is Ben White. You're seeing Phil Foden in between the lines. It's like almost a 3-4 of back four. He's in between, anyways. He's in between the defensive line and midfield line. And what that does, that actually draws Ben White in. So because Ben White jumps in there, I don't know if you can see that, Phil Foden, that creates that pocket of space in behind again. So I can imagine one of our midfielders on the ball in a North London derby, there will be a scenario where this could happen. This could happen where we're higher up the pitch, one of our midfielders are on the ball, Ben White gets drawn to the ball, and then a quick pass around the corner, or what he's going to do is a bounce pass, but the next pass has to be forward. Then that's when Werner has to be alert to it, make the run, and be on the bike. So again, it's another scenario that I'm trying to create where I'm thinking, this could possibly happen. This is against Aston Villa recently. And Arsenal, again, they were at their ground. So this is not Arsenal away from home. It's them actually at the ground. Odegaard leaving this space in behind. I talked about the press. When they do press, Odegaard's high up. He's leading that line. But there is a space in there. So one of our midfielders could be in there. And that could be an opportunity for us to get out of their press in that particular game. Martinez, as a goalkeeper, being super direct, I spoke about before. Similar to Neura, he wants to go direct. He was looking for Zaniolo. Zaniolo's left with Ben White. Ben White being pinned back, that would stop Arsenal's progression because with Ben White, when he inverts or he's higher up the pitch, it allows Saka to be 1v1 with the fullback. You do not want Ben White 1v1 with someone like an Emerson Wright. Oh, he's going to be against? No, it's going to be against Ben Davies, isn't he? Yeah, against Ben Davies. You don't want to see Ben Davies versus Saka. That's what you don't want. You don't want him too isolated because he will do him for days. So what we do need to do is pin Ben White back by going direct at times and making Vicario go long into a player like Werner on the left-hand side. And there's another occasion where he looks at him. So that's a particular tactic that Emery chose to do on purpose. But the thing is as well, we might get caught out at times where we like to play through the lines. We like to pass. We like to hold on to the ball. We've got players that like to carry the ball. But in my opinion, I would bypass the fullbacks. I really would. Bailey has got acres of space. He can see the number of, I think that's Saliba on the back, number 6. He can see, anyway, that centre back, he can see his back. The reason why he can see that is because Zinchenko was playing at the time. He inverted. So when Zinchenko came on, he inverted, and that left Bailey with acres of space. Now, for whatever reason, it didn't get to him. But I could see Johnson again being in that right-hand pocket, in that space. He could be found. Do you know what I mean? It's an opportunity that could happen, and we could get out the pitch. Zinchenko has inverted, giving him space. However, I do feel like he will not be played. I feel it'll be Kivior that will play left back, or Tomiyasu. But
Kivior, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, Kivior or Tomiyasu will play there.
Yeah, because I think Shevchenko's not been playing well.
No, he hasn't.
I think since Kivior has been in the team, they've done very well, haven't they?
But just to throw a caveat to that, I'm saying that Kivior did start that game and he got taken off, and sometimes legs get tired. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes they're working hard, and this was later on in the game. It was the last 10 minutes where Aston Villa hurt them. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't straight away. So I'm saying if we're in the game still, 10 minutes to go, and for whatever reason, Zinchenko comes on and they're trying to control the midfield to get back, control the game, because that might happen. They might lose control of the game. We don't know. If that happens, then there's an opportunity for us to operate in this hole, in this particular space was highlighted. Rice is covering Zinchenko there. And then in that particular area, you're seeing Martinelli. He's meant to be covering, but Martinelli doesn't cover back. If Martinelli, he probably won't start as well. Trossard will probably start. But again, Trossard might start and he gets tired. Then Martinelli comes on, to freshen things up. So then defensively, Martinelli, he could switch off. And that's what gives Bailey that space to run in behind in those last 10 minutes. He switches off, and guess what? He gambles, the ball's across. And again, you can see it with Spurs. Spurs are tapping merchants. This is what we do. We fire balls across the 6-yard box, and then we score those type of goals. So again, these are the fine margins that could decide games, that could get us back in the game. And again, Watkins was in his own half at the time. I know I've got this clip here, but Watkins wasn't in his own half. And Arsenal were trying to get back in the game, They were trying to get back in from 1-0. They knew the title was on the line. They couldn't afford to slip up. Everything's riding on in this mentality, everything. They don't want to be called bottlers. The players know this. It's a big occasion. All of a sudden, Watkins is on goal. What does he do? He gets a 1v1 and he puts in the back of the net. Now, that could be Son. I'm just saying. I know Son hasn't been informed, but if you get Son 1v1, we saw what happened at the Emirates, and it's just a possibility. Do I think this will happen? I don't know.
It's a good thing. But Asma, I don't think you should be disappointed about that. I think it was a very good analysis, and I think it just shows you what I said earlier. The strikers have to be clinical. Yeah, this is the moment.
Problem, Mr. Box Office.
That's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem I'm saying. That's why I say what I've said already. That's why I've got no hope at the moment, because at the end of the day, we've put those scenarios in play. You're now saying, and to be honest, I'll give you that one. To be honest with you, it's just because it's Werner, right? And you know who I call him. Remind you what he reminds me of, yeah, as a player. Yeah, he needs to go to width and cross the ball in rather than go to the goal and actually try and score. So I mean, come on. I mean, that just sums up how bang average this player is. You know what I mean? Yeah, but the thing is, though, this is a great game for them. Johnson, especially Johnson right now. Yeah, right. If he's a great player right now, yeah, he pinpoints weaknesses in that Arsenal defense right now, right? Like Aston Villa did against Arsenal, right? Pinpoint when Arsenal were in our half and we get the ball, we hit them straight on the break, right? And you said straight away, great analysis, Ashmatic. Put the ball directly to Johnson, and he just bombs on, yeah, and he goes for the goal, yeah. right? And then we try and punish them. And you try and target a weakness. That's what Aston Villa did. That's what Aston Villa did. And that's what Bayern Munich did. Yeah? So if Bayern Munich can do that, yeah, with a half-cooked team.
On average, Bayern Munich as well.
Exactly. Why is Johnson and Werner not looking at this? This is Werner who wants to get into the German squad, by the way, for the Euros, by the way. Yeah, so that should be his motivation. Yeah. So I mean, honestly, I don't even know what to say. You know what I mean? I mean, people are saying in the chat. I know Danny's in the chat right now. He's saying, "Is Ange going to change it?" No, he won't. He won't. He might tweak it a little bit, but he won't. But the point is that if he was clever enough, if he watched that Aston Villa game, watch that Bayern Munich game, he's sitting there saying to Johnson and looking at and Werner, or I would put Son there, to be honest with you, and put somebody else up front. I mean, if we have to put Richarlison the below average over Moheski, okay, we'll do that. Hopefully we sell him next season in the summer. But the point I'm making is, right, is that, you know, if I'm looking at Werner and Son and Johnson, my preferred people on the width at the moment, I'm sitting there saying, you can get at White. Yeah, Ben White. You know what I mean? Because when he's inverted, there's your space, mate. There's your space. You know what I mean? Because every single time you lose a ball, you should punish people now. That's the thing. Because whenever we lose the ball, you notice whenever we lose the ball, Ash, yeah, when we're trying to play our football, yeah, we get punished every single time, yeah. Why is that not Tottenham, bro? Why is that not Tottenham?
It's a good point, man. It's a good point. I want to bring Cole in, man. And do you see a way, like, is there light at the end of the tunnel for you? Like, after me showing you the bang average Bayern Munich getting points and also getting wet, and some would argue that Bayern was better over the both legs, you know, even though it was 2-2 and then the 1-0 at the Allianz Stadium. Chelsea, obviously, they're just Chelsea. They're not it this season. Like, let's not compare ourselves to Chelsea. That was horrific. So and I understand why a lot of Spurs fans are nervous after that pummeling. Like, you saw Arsenal, a confident Arsenal, that they can do that to you if you're not careful. But yeah, can Ange install that belief and look at those video clips? Not that my clips, they've probably got their own clips, you know, where they've done their analysis. But yeah, what's your take on it, bro?
So basically, the one thing we have to remember: Bayern have the great Eric Dyer in defense. So we have to think that we're going to automatically be a little worse off than Bayern because we don't have Dyer to play in defense for us. That's a huge help to Bayern. But yeah, of course we have a chance. I think Arsenal maybe beating Chelsea so bad. That was a joke, by the way. Hopefully everybody got that I don't really want Eric Dyer in our defense. But I do want to say, though, that, yeah, maybe them beating Chelsea so bad today, maybe it makes them puff up their chest. Maybe it gets them a little high on themselves and they come in a little overconfident. I mean, that's right. That's the ideal here, is that they instead of being, you know, just confident, they come in overconfident, thinking that, you know, job's done, and we can use our superior. Yeah, it's the one thing I can maybe see happening. I could also see the first half looking typical Spurs, not great, and then us coming in the second half after them, like when, you know, they've got some tired legs, something in my eyeball, but when they've got tired legs and attacking there, you know, like you were saying, you're showing those spaces in behind. Yeah, man, we're going to have to take advantage of those. We're going to have to play, maybe not as much like the home team, unfortunately, but as long as we get the 3 points, I don't care. But yeah, clinical. And I know that clinical isn't a word you would necessarily use to describe Spurs as a whole, collectively as a unit right now. We definitely do have some clinical players. Obviously, Sonny is the one, right, that comes to mind. How do we get Sonny in a position to score? We know that Sonny's not super good. You know, at least I don't think he plays super well as the focal point of an attack. I think he's too easily marked out by central defenders. So is Alex right? Do we put in Pigeon Man? Do we start with you know, Richarlison up front, Sonny on the left, or even Sonny playing off the striker? You know, I don't know. It's all good questions. We need to be taking shots from outside the box. We need to test their keeper and then follow those shots in. If they're going to, if their defense is going to continue to play as good as they've been playing, we need to test their keeper from distance. Sonny can do that for sure. There's ways we can get at them, but it's just going to take us being we're going to have to get lucky and be clinical.
Chris, do you think like Ange can tweak, or do you think that the clips I just showed, you've got Tuchel, who's a master tactician, he kind of adapts during the game, like Ange says, do plan A better. You've got Emery's known to tinker, he's known to kind of mess around with things. Ange is like, we need to get this philosophy over. Do you think you will see any type of change?
Of course. But those that think that Ange doesn't tweak and he twerks more than he tweaks, it's just wrong. He tweaks, of course he tweaks. Any manager that stands on the sideline and just doesn't do anything, and I know that he's been criticised for not moving, and he just stands there with his hands in his pockets or pulling his trousers up. It's just wrong. It's incorrect. And of course he tweaks, and of course there's even. Look, there's even a video out there or images, whatever, of him correcting Sonny, right? Now, if that isn't a correction in and of itself, I mean, I've got no legs, because that is a correction in and of itself. You're trying to change something. You're trying to ask a player to do something different to condition whoever's marking him, or to condition the defense, or to condition whatever he's trying to do. I don't know. I'm not privy to that information, but in and of itself, he's trying to change something. So that is a tweak, right? The fact that, for example, the command he's giving to Werner, for example, is get to the byline, as you say, get to the byline and cut back right into the penalty, to the penalty spot. Maybe, and I've seen it. No, I don't want you to go that far. Get to the byline, don't cut it back to the penalty spot. I want you to play back to the centre mids or the nearest player, because he's seen something that they are they're countering. So to overcome that, we have to play back, because they're expecting the next one to go into the penalty box or to the penalty area, So the next one, do something different. That is a direct order from your manager, right? And I can vouch for that, because that's what managers do. So of course he tweaks. Whether he tactically tweaks, we're going to have to see, depending on the players that are available. But his philosophy is going to be the same. The philosophy is unnegotiable. And I've said this time and time again. His philosophy is free-flowing, attacking football. Possession-based attacking football. That is his philosophy. The tactic may change. The tactic may be, as you put brilliantly again, how Arsenal press. Is one centre mid going to come and receive to alleviate the pressure? Are two going to come? Is Sarr going to go out to the right wing, as I've seen against Liverpool, for example? These kind of tactical changes are dependent on the rival. So he doesn't have a one-track mind. He doesn't. He does things dependent on the rival as well, and it's all for people to see. I've studied this, I've seen it, and he changes dependent on the rival. So yes, he will change, and of course it depends on if Porro is available, he's going to do it one way. If he's not available, then Emerson is going to probably do it another way. If Sarr plays, he's going to do it another way. So yes, he will tweak dependent on availability, player availability, and what he's seen probably today might not even change it more than what we expect. But does he tweak? Of course he does. And
are you not worried about the high line, for example? A lot of fans are scared about this high line situation.
Yeah,
and if we go to fully attack, I think that's where fans are calling the manager naive. Like, we're going to go ultra attack against Arsenal.
Yeah.
And Arsenal are going to do what they did to Liverpool, because Liverpool thought they could do it. They do Gegenpress. They do the Gegenpress.
They do Gegenpress.
So,
I know, but they got players to do it.
They got defeated 3-1. I do see that, they were missing Salah. We're missing
against who? Sorry.
So Liverpool lost against Arsenal.
Oh, okay, yeah, against Arsenal, yeah.
They lost against Arsenal 3-1, and they tried to press them. They tried to press them aggressively. Yeah. The high line failed. And I said in the clip that Virgil van Dijk got caught in two minds, and he didn't know whether to stand off, or whether to go to the midfielder man and press him. And that's where we got exploited. So I think that's where a lot of fans are like, oh, we're going to get, this might be a drubbing, because he's not gonna tweak that bit. This is the philosophy. We play high line, we press them, we suffocate them in their own side of the pitch. But then also a way of playing through that press, and that high line can be exposed and got at. So
of course, but that's why you have to have intelligent players. I'm not saying that VVD isn't Virgil van Dijk, not to confuse with VDV. Virgil van Dijk is an extremely brilliant player. He's world class, But even if he gets caught in two minds, that's not a managerial. I'm just explaining it for the people that might not get it. But and I don't want to be condescending, but even if VVD gets caught in two minds, that's not a managerial issue. That's something that a player has to make in a split second, and that's where it makes a difference to you get screwed on the counter, or you make the right decision. And for VVD to make a bad decision, right, is extremely rare as well. So I mean, the high line is of course worrying, but that's when the compression, right, that is when the whole team goes and presses as one. That's when the compression has to be spot on, because if not, you're going to get caught out. Whether it ends up in goal or not remains to be seen. But the compression has to be perfect, and that is why I was saying before, our midfield, I don't think is working 100%, and because of either BIS or because we don't have the proper players to do that, or any excuse you wanna label me as giving now. We just don't have the right players to do that. As Alex was saying before, Højbjerg gives a bit more contention. He's a bit more, defensive minded than, for example, I don't know, any other ones that we've got, because all can defend, I suppose. But he's not as attacking minded, so he's more defensive. He'll cut passing lines out. He'll sacrifice himself. He's the Viking. I can get that. He might be a good fit, but if the compression is not implemented properly, you can have 10 VVDs in there and another 10 VDVs in there. It's not going to work. So the high line, of course, is a worrying aspect, of course. But for any team, Liverpool got caught out, and we can get caught out. Anyone can get caught out with a high line.
Cole, just a quick one. The inverted fullbacks, obviously, we haven't got a natural inverted fullbacks to play the system. And does that worry you that, Ben Davies with no pace playing against a Saka that is an athlete?
It worries me to an extent.
On the other side, not leaving Odegaard, sometimes they do like the Holy Trinity and they just do little small triangles. Our wrong play. And we just and now on top of it, like Chris was saying, Basuma actually he's been stinking up the place. He's been playing smelly. He hasn't screened. He's not defensively switched on. Sorry, he's not seeing the danger before it happens. He's arriving late at the scene. He's always running back to goal. Then you've got Emerson Royale, who, let's face it, is not the most technically gifted footballer. Like, you could have him against Trossard. Do you know what I mean? I didn't put it on the screen. I had Martinelli there, but the reality of it is going to be Trossard and Havertz. Havertz is going to be making those fake runs, kind of occupy Mickey van der Ven, and then that's going to be isolating, Trossard 1v1 versus Emerson Royale, Do you still think we can get around that? Like, how do we get around that?
It's definitely a hindrance, right? I mean, we know the way that we like to play with our fullbacks. We like them to invert, to become part of the midfield, to help build, possession and help us dictate, to help us move the ball up the pitch. Ben Davies does not fit the mold the same way. He's not the same player as Udogie, but Udogie's also not a wonderful defender. I mean, if we had to call out his deficiencies, I think the first thing people would say is, and he's improving, would be his defending. That's an area where Ben Davies is better. For people who say that Ange doesn't tweak the team and make little changes, he's going to have to. He's going to absolutely have to for this match, because the way that Davies and the way that Udogie play couldn't possibly be any more different to me. one's kind of a speed merchant, the other one relies more on his positioning. Yeah, definitely, it scares me. And do I think we can get the result? How do we bypass that? I do still think that we can get a result if we. This is not going to be cool, and it's not going to. But if we defend, and then like counter and maybe hit them on the counter a couple times and shoot. I mean, depending on how clinical we are, we could be 2-3 goals up pretty quick if we do that and we pull it off. But we're not going to go out there. I know, we all know we're not going to go out there looking to do that. If it happens, it'll be kind of a byproduct of just the counter pressing that we were doing that Chris was talking about, that you guys have been talking about. Shoot, I know where we're going to be lacking, and that's all over the pitch. But midfield, fullback positions, especially if Poro's out. I heard he was training. Someone said he was training, so that's great. If Poro can play, that's wonderful. Yeah, definitely scary, man. It's all kind of coming crashing down. In my head, I had been like, oh, we're good. We got this. We can overcome this. But then hearing it all kind of stacked up so nicely and concisely by you guys, I'm like, well, shoot, maybe not. Maybe it's not as good as I thought. But I still,
even
ever optimistic.
Even with like a Udogi in the team, we'd still be up against it because against Newcastle, I know, like I said before, they were playing the counter-attacking, and it suits Spurs when teams come onto us and we've got more space to run in behind, etc., etc. But as I said before, Arsenal are finding a way to deal with teams that do counter-attack. So, and we it's not like we've been, even when we've won our games, like for example, what's your favorite game? What is your best game for Spurs
this season? It's tough. It's tough because I don't think that there's been a game that we've played the entire match, Ange ball, so to speak.
All right. So let's say, for example, the last time you really enjoyed us was maybe like Newcastle, like Newcastle at home, right? Where we won.
Right. Not away.
The reverse fixture 4-0. Yeah, how long ago was that? And then if you look at the performances that we have won, it's like, you match that up, you marry that up to us facing Arsenal. Do you think it would always be like, you know what, we have to give Ange his flowers if he gets a result against Arsenal? Or is that giving Arsenal too much respect?
Listen, Arsenal this season are a beast, right? We all know that. As much as it pains us all, it probably pains me to say it. Arsenal are a really good team this year. They're the team to beat. They look like they could win the league. Let me also say real quick, just as an aside, that's what happens when you give a manager time to build things, time to shape a team the way that they would like it, give them the players they would want, and give them some time. So that's something that we could have in the future if we let our manager build, or we could at least have a chance at. But anyway, yeah, I think if we get the 3 points over them, then I think Ange deserves a lot of plaudits, a lot of credit, because you're right. We haven't been playing especially great as of late. We're coming off of a 2 week, or we're a period of 2 weeks without a match where we know we struggle when we don't play consistently. They've been playing consistently. They've been playing some good football in that time. Also some really bad football in that time. But I think your question was, are we giving Arsenal too much credit? Not this season. They're a beast. They're a different beast this season. If we can get 3 points against them, I will be over the moon, and I think the entire fan base would be as well.
Mr. Box Office, just to finish off, what's going to end it on this? Like, I know for you, the season's over. Like, I know you checked out a long time ago. But like, if we do somehow manage to get, the 3 points against Arsenal, do you start to look at Ange? Or like, let's say the next 3 or 4 games, we beat Arsenal somehow. I can't even believe I'm saying that. And we manage to do City and Liverpool. Do you then give Ange his flowers? Because you said you don't rate Ange. Like you said, you need time. But against the top 6, we start to pick up points. Do you start to think, actually, you know what? I give him his flowers. Look, he got the North London derby, he got that right. And he got Liverpool, something we've not been able to do for how many years. and Man City or even Chelsea. Like I just throw it in. What are the three? He gets like a song out of these kids, out of these guys. Would you start to change your opinion, or where do you sit on it?
No. Next season after that. So this season again, like I said, no expectations. When we get to the and even he said, like he said it as well, next season. When you get to the season where there are now expectations, if we get Champions League, which I don't think we will, even if we get Europa League this season, there's going to be more expectations now because everyone knows about Ange now, yeah? Then we see what this team's all about then, yeah? We'll start to see whether this is real. Like, at the moment, what is the motivation?
I honestly think the players still want Champions League. I know Ange said that.
That's cool. That's cool. If they want Champions League, that's cool. But
because I heard Maddison come out and he said, "Look, I know the gaffer said, he doesn't want to finish top 4. He doesn't want that to be the barometer. He doesn't want that to be the benchmark. Like he's sick of his top 4 talk.
It can't be, bro, because the fact is, you got to do better next season. You know what I mean?
But the players, Maddison came out and said, "I'm not gonna lie, I won Champions League football," and for a lot of players, they enjoy playing in those elite competitions so they can compete against the elite players and they can hear the music, like that's what it is.
But I know teams that want to win trophies. I know players that want to win trophies. You know what I mean? They've got the mentality of winning trophies.
I think that's what Ange wants. I think Ange wants to win at Tottenham. Like that's what he's there. He's not there to just be another.
He's won everywhere. He's gone. So I don't know why he would want to mess that up. His CV looks pretty good right now. So
I mean, it's quite clear at the moment. Like I said, Ashmatic, it's not changed my mind because I said this is a long-term thing. Like I said before, many things now. People say that I'm mad. I'm angry. Yeah, it's easy to throw it at us. Ashmatic. It's always easy to throw it at like people like us. We are. You know what I mean? I'm trying to say it diplomatically that we're angry.
Black man.
We're angry. We're angry. Yeah. You said it. I can't say it. I don't want to say it because I don't want to devalue your channel. But it's like I've said my point hasn't been proven. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's a long-term thing for me. Yeah.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because you need to see how this rolls. You know what I mean? Because we've seen this before. You know what I mean? We can do things against these teams because no one expected it. The pressure's not on us. We're the underdogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, massively.
We are the underdogs. So no one expects us to do anything against Arsenal. So we'll go out and do something against Arsenal.
That's the Spurs way.
Nothing goes on. We're not expected to do things against Man City, but then we'll do something against Man City. Yeah. You know what I mean? We've got nothing to worry about with Liverpool because we're not expected to do it, but then we'll do something against Liverpool. You get what I'm saying? So it's like when the expectations is on us,
crumble.
Then we'll see where we are. You know what I mean? There's a lot of players in this team at the moment. I could just say bye-bye. Yeah, and even your favourites. Yeah, and even your favourites this season, like Van der Ven, Vicario, Edoji, who's injured at the moment. Oh, surprisingly. Yeah. Poro. Yeah. Maddison. Oh, the captain, the vice captain of the City and all that stuff. Yeah. Well, really, I've said Vicario is better than him all day long. I'll tell you that for a fact as a captain. I'll tell you that for a fact. Yeah. Because people haven't seen him at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, I know people are going to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for quite for haven't been there for quite a while. If you watch Vicario, you'll watch him actually shout at players, telling them what to do. Yeah, tell players that they're not playing really well. When he sees Emerson Royale messing up for the 18th time or the 100th time you've seen before, yeah, you see him having a rollicking of him. You know what I mean? Yeah, and Davis, who, by the way, I had to apologise to David Harris. Big up Irish Hotspur every single time. Yeah, right. Yeah. Trying to get back to try and catch up with Trossard or Saka. You know what I mean? You'll see him having a go at him as well. You know? So it's like, I'm sorry. For me, nothing's been proven. Yeah? Big up my boy Brian, by the way, in the chat, by the way. Yeah? But it's like, it's like, I'm sorry, nothing's been proven. Nothing's been proven at the end of the day because we've seen this before, Ash. You know what I mean? Yeah, and you just know my truth, and that's it. And it's just like I just think at the moment, I'm not telling people what to think. I'm not telling Chris, Colin, yourself, because I respect you, Ashmatic. Yeah, I'm not telling you what I think, but at the moment, until I see this team go long term and see how this rolls, and we understand the fact that we need to start lifting up our standards and trying to win trophies, that's the only way we're going to go forward. And that's the only way this is going to mend our fan base at the moment. Because at the moment, I'm fed up with hearing that we're all together as a fan base. We're not. We're not. That's reality. Yeah, and that's it. Back to you, Asmat. I'm done. If you don't know, get to know.
And you know what? That's okay. It's all right to have different opinions. It's all right to sit on the other side of the fence. Like, it is, like, as humans, it's in our nature to, like, you know, have our own minds, to think. To some people, to think outside the box. You know, not everyone's going to sing on the same hymn sheet. But just coming back to you, Chris, for you, like, I'll ask the same question. If all of a sudden, you know, we managed to get through this juggernaut of a fixture list where we managed to somehow pick up points in the North London derby, we do something the unthinkable. We get points at Anfield, you know, Stamford Bridge, where we never get points. You know, do you give Ange praise for that? You say, look, you know what? I have to look at this manager, and, you know, we have to look at him a different light. We have to give him some respect.
No, not, and I say no because I'm looking at on the mid to long run anyway. Because I know perhaps a lot of people and even what Madison, you're referring to, what Madison may have said. I didn't actually hear it, but he wants champions. Well, champions for the sake of getting champions and not doing anything. Well, what's the point? That's just like a quick fix. You get to champions, then you get, you know, pummeled, and you go out, and then you haven't done anything, and your team hasn't progressed. What's the point?
Do you think, just on that, sorry to interrupt you. Do you think Villa are more quick for Champions League, and do you think that they will hold their position above someone like us or Newcastle? Because Newcastle, obviously, they fell off after going into Champions League. They weren't quite ready for that jump, and then all of a sudden, you know, you're looking at Villa. Could they leapfrog us? Have they got a better ownership than what we have? Have they spent better? I know Emery's had longer in the job, so it's hard to say. Do you know what I mean? But by the looks of it, you look at their recruitment over the last few seasons. We even stole their recruitment man in Big Lange. So
Johan Langer. I'm sure Johan Langer's he's fine. Yeah, he's okay, but he's not Monchi. You know, I mean, Monchi's big dog. You know, he's top brass. He knows what he's doing, and Emery is, you know, as much as I love Ange, you know, and I think he's great, and I love listening to him, and he still has to prove me. He still has to do the business at Spurs. Do you know what I mean? I don't trust anybody in life. I don't even trust myself, and I back Ange. I do, but I'm not sold 100% on him because he still has to do, and he still has to perform with all the tools. He hasn't had the tools. I want him to have his tools and to do what he has to do. Right. That's where I stand on Ange. But Emery is a top class manager. He's at a club that has been doing it right, you know, for a number of years now, and I think they've just signed him onto a contract until 2028 or so, a long-term contract, and they see Emery as an ex-Ferguson-esque kind of, you know, long-term. So they're backing him. They're backing an idea that we've had for like what? How many months? 9 months, like since the beginning of the season. So, you know, if we can be patient, right, and if we can get thumped, right, by Arsenal, Chelsea, Brighton, whoever it may be, and say, you know what, it's just football because it's just one game. Right. And if we can stick together and say, it's just, you know what, sod it, right? And not be so up our own selves and think that we're bigger than what we are. And yeah, we are a big club. Yeah, we've got heritage. Yes, we've got loads of money. And yes, we've got, I'm not going to go down the Levy road, but we're huge. We've got a great stadium. Yeah, we've got blah, blah, blah. But we've got great heritage. We've got great past. We've had great players play for us, right? But if Ange is the breakaway, right? If Ange's the breakaway from the bad decisions, managerial decisions, the bad signings that we've had in the past that haven't worked out, they may have been great players, but they haven't been great signings as output, so to speak. They haven't done anything for us. If Ange's the breakaway that we really needed when we lost the Champions League, that we should have had for Poch, right? If this is the new kind of era, we have to back him. Whether we get thumped, whether we beat Chelsea, whether we beat Arsenal, whether we beat Man City, let's give this man time. Let's back it. Let's, so that's how I see it, If we can go out and beat City at home, whether we, you know what I mean? Whether we can go, Liverpool, whether we can go out and beat all these teams away, for example, that's small steps towards something bigger. And unify the fan base and say, you know what, we can get thumped 5-0 at home. Doesn't matter. We're on to bigger things. We're more important than just a game. Because City can get beat at home. Why can't they? Arsenal can get beat at home. Why can't they? And it's more important just a game or a result. So it doesn't mean anything if we beat those teams, because it's more mid to long term for me at least. So
Fair enough.
That's how I see it. And I'm sorry if I piss people off. That's just the way I see it, because I'm more invested in the longer term.
Talk your shit, man. Talk your shit. Talk your shit. I'm going to finish on Cole. Cole, I'm going to finish with you, Robo, before I end the show. And big up to the chat. Everyone's been participating. You know who you are, man. Big yourselves up. Everyone making stellar points, making the show absolutely A1. But yeah, Cole, correct me if I'm wrong. You think we can still get that top 4, right? Am I right or wrong? Yeah, you think we can
When Sunday, anything's possible.
We've got, let's face it, our home form is better than our away form. And the big teams that we need to play, obviously Arsenal, City, they're at home. We do have another 2 teams in Sheffield United, I believe, to play the last game of the season. And in the last game, we've got also, do we have to play? Is it Burnley? Is it Burnley we play at home again? So how many points do you think we can pick up? And then also, do you think that Aston Villa will come back stronger next season? Do you think there is a chance that they could leapfrog us? They're in a better position than where we are. 2 questions, I know, to end it. Sorry. Oh.
So how many? So the first question was, how many points do I think that we can get from our remaining fixtures? How many remaining fixtures do we have left? What's the fixture list that we're looking at here?
6 games, I believe.
6 games.
The 6 games. I think we're on 66 points. I need to double check that. Hold on, I'll bring up the Premiership right now just to make sure.
Yeah. And then I wanted to ask Chris. You probably know this number, or all of you guys probably.
Yes,
There's like a magic number. There's like a magic number for Champions League. What is that? Usually, it's like 70 something.
72 points. It's 60 points. 72 points. So we would need 12 points. So that means we need 4 times 3 is 12. So we need to win 4 of our next. Our next 4. Well, not our next 4 games, but we need to win 4 out of the 6 to guarantee Champions League football.
God, it's doable, but it sure would be nail biting and edge of the seat stuff. But yeah, it's possible. It's definitely possible. Do I think it'll happen? Yeah, because I like to hurt myself, man. If I didn't, then I wouldn't. You know what I mean? What's the point, right?
So the Villa are there. They're on 66 points, and we're on 60 points. I don't know if you can see that. And then if you look at some of the fixtures,
they have played 2 more matches than us, though.
Yeah. So we've got 2 games in hand. The 2 games we have in hand, I think, are going to be the Chelsea. The Chelsea game is one of them. I know that we'll have Chelsea, and I think the next one's Man City as well. So we've got Tottenham, Arsenal, and then Chelsea, Tottenham away. Chelsea away would be the next game after that.
Yeah.
And if I just look at quickly Aston Villa's lineup, they've got to play Brighton away, and I believe Brighton have only lost 2 games at home. So Aston Villa could possibly lose points against Brighton, but then if they drop points, then we have to win against Liverpool away, where most people think we can't really get that done, but it's possible. It's Spurs, you never know. And then we play Burnley. So we play Burnley at 3 o'clock, 11th of May. So we actually play before Villa. So we could actually win that game and put pressure on Villa at home against Liverpool. And Liverpool could beat Villa because they could still be in a title race technically around that point. So and then
anything's possible. Anything's possible, man. Is it going to be easy? No. Even if we get Champions League, do I think that we're going to perform particularly well? Absolutely not. Not with this squad. We need major changes to the squad for us getting in the Champions League to even mean anything. At this point, we would be making it just to crash out of the group stages. And I don't want that to be Spurs. I don't want to be supporting that team. So I hope that if we were to make the Champions League, obviously there's a big increase in revenue there. That all needs to be turned around and it all just poured back into the team for it to even kind of be worth it. Because right now we would just get laughed out of Europe at the position that we are in as a team. You asked a question about Aston Villa being able to overtake us. They've definitely got a manager that's more equipped to take a team further in a cup. I think that. Unai Emery is just like built for cup competitions. Not really sure why. He's just like a master at them. So when you say overtake us next season, you mean positionally, like just
I mean they've got a chance right now to win a trophy, albeit Europa Conference might not be the most desirable, but they'll get a trophy.
Hey, trophy's a trophy, yeah.
I mean, and so like again, it's that whole West Ham debate, but they're saying like, oh, we're bigger than Spurs because we got a trophy, blah blah blah. Do they go on and push that? Do they use that momentum to go on and maybe if they're in, if they don't make Champions League, do they go on to maybe compete in Europa, maybe win it?
Hey, well, let's just say that's a good way. That's a good way to springboard yourself up. So
and then that's another season. Like we might not win anything next season. Like there's nothing to say that we are going to definitely win something. And then all of a sudden, Aston Villa, they're in the contention for another top 4 race, and then they start finishing above us. Do they leapfrog us in that way? If that makes sense.
And it can happen. Anything can happen. And you make a good point, though, in the fact that, they win the Europa Conference League, boom, then they win the Europa League, boom. They're in the Champions League. They've got some European pedigree. People are really looking at them, watching them. They believe in themselves. They've got like a winning mentality. That'll carry over to the league. I mean, it's a good hypothetical. It's one I can't see the future, obviously, but we need to stick with something consistent at Spurs, or I feel like that might happen. I think if we back Ange consistently, have a plan, everybody's got to be on the same page. Longa, Ange, Paratici, everybody has to be on the same page. Levy, and we have to get some stuff done early. We have to all be singing from the same hymn book or whatever they say, and then maybe we can keep that from happening. But that's a good point that you bring up, and pretty scary when you think about it.
The reason why I say it, and I'm going to end the show now, but I'll just finish on this point. The reason why I do bring it up is because I remember when before Klopp came in, Spurs were consistently finishing above Liverpool. In fact, I'll go back before that. I remember when it was Aston Villa, Martin O'Neill. I remember when Leeds were pushing, and they were like, Leeds had a team where they had like Ian Hart, they had Bowyer, they had Ferdinand, they had Viduka, they had
playing Champions League.
They were playing Champions League, right? And then I remember when we started finishing above Leeds and Aston Villa at the time. And we were the top dogs. We weren't the top dogs, but we finished above them. We started finishing above them consistently, but they were our competition. And then I remember Liverpool were nowhere. Liverpool were nowhere to be seen, and we were the next team. Then Liverpool got close. They managed to find Klopp. They got Klopp in, and then that was the difference maker. And then Liverpool leapfrogged us in progression. Then we had a small window against Arsenal. We were finishing above them. For 5 to 7 years, we were finishing above them, and then we pipped them with Conte. We weren't meant to get 4th, but they bottled it, and we managed to pick the 4th spot that season. And then that was the time when we're like, we need to buy now because you just don't know about Arsenal. They could come back. What's happened? Arsenal have come back. So then now it's like City. Obviously, they came with Pep. They leapfrogged us because we were in a competition with them for Champions League at one point. I remember when Crouch got the goal. From City, we're like, everyone thought, oh, City could do it, but that was like the final game. But it just feels like, could Aston Villa be the next one in line that leapfrog Spurs, are we in danger? And this is the reason why I'm trying to create this conversation within the actual fan base.
I think they're going to struggle next season. I think
that's why I throw it out there, because I know I saw what happened with Newcastle, but then actually, are their squad, is Aston Villa's squad more equipped than Newcastle are?
They could be, and I think what the difference is, Emery knows the deal. He needs to be better next season. That's the thing. So, but the thing is that Aston Villa are in a position where they're not really used to it at the moment. You know what I mean? So, I think there'll be different teams in there, definitely. I think Man United, like I said before, yeah, if it was that easy for Tottenham Hotspur after that most embarrassing season, we have had embarrassing seasons, yeah. After embarrassing season with Conte and his assistant, and then have Mason, and then come back the way we've come back now, which wasn't much of a comeback. Let's be honest here, because we flopped all the cup competitions, having one game a week. By the way, yeah. Why do you think it's not going to be easy for other teams to do that? Man United just need to sack Ten Hag and then get another manager in, and then here we go, another time for Klopp. You know what I mean? Yeah, and if you hear some people about Chelsea at the moment, they may not be good this season, but they might come back next season. Because if it was that easy for Tottenham, like I said, if it was that easy for Tottenham Hotspur to do it, why can it not be easy for other teams? You know what I mean? I mean, just to answer your question on this, Ashmatic, you asked Colin. I'm just going to be straight up to the point. I think we're only going to get 6 points, maybe 7 at best. Yeah, and the 1 point, the 3 points, the 6 points is quite easy. Burnley and Sheffield United by luck. Yeah, but the other point you'll be surprised to know will be Chelsea, because if you look at their strikers, absolutely useless. But I wouldn't be surprised even if we flop that. To be honest with you. Not that I'm really bothered, like I said, because I've zoned out a long time ago. You know what I mean? Because I don't do days out in Champions League, because I go on holiday, but that's going on holiday for Tottenham Hotspur, going in Champions League and doing absolutely nothing, and then going to and playing an Italian side like we did at AC Milan and do absolutely nothing. You know what I mean? It's like going on a night out and actually not doing anything. You know what I mean? Just sitting there, just having a drink and that's it. You know what I mean? Nowhere to be seen and that's it. You know? So it's like, that's just going to answer your question straight away, bro. You know what I mean? Because for me, you know, we're not good. I just don't think we are. You know, I just don't see us doing anything against Man City, even though they've got the above average John Carew, aka Haaland. Yeah, who's right about that, Bill Ashmatic? Who's right about that? Yeah, who was having a go at me last season? Who was having a go about me last season? Yeah. Who told me that I was talking absolute rubbish? And now you look at the pundits now about Haaland now. Look at the pundits now about Haaland now. Yeah? Look at the pundits. Yeah? The Mr. Box Office of the main event talking the truth again. Yeah? I didn't even need stats to tell you that as well, bro. You know what I mean? They obviously didn't get Harry Kane. Harry Kane would have been better for them, and that's it. You know what I mean? You know? And that's it. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm tired of this. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but that's the clear thing for me, you know. I wouldn't be surprised if they prove me wrong, but that's Tottenham Hotspur, yeah. Like a good guy that should be still on YouTube said, and you know who I'm talking about, Sava, yeah. It's never dull being a Tottenham Hotspur fan. It's never dull being a Tottenham Hotspur fan, and that's it. Back to you, Ashmatic. I'm done. If you don't know, get to know.
I need to read out this super chat from my guy Chang Chin Song. Big up yourself each and every time. Love for Magnetic, Ashmatic, Mr. Chris, Mr. Alex, Box Office, Mr. Sivers. Big up. I appreciate the super chat, man. It's a lovely way to finish off. Guys, do you have any final words before I end the stream?
For me, at the moment, I thought it could be a draw, but at the moment, with the deficiencies we've got, especially up front, and seeing what Arsenal, it's not even about this. It wasn't about even this game. It wasn't even about this game. That's why I'm not even. I'm not making this judgment on this game that they've just done play today. It's because of the defense, and our attack is so deficiency. And their midfield is playing really well at the moment, and they've got Trossard. they're going to beat us 2-1 or 2-0. Sorry, that I'm sorry. I just don't see us. I just have got no confidence in our front line. Got no confidence whatsoever. Even with a good defense, they've got a better defense than ours because they're keeping clean sheets. So for me, I just don't see us winning. Sorry, that's just me. And Odegaard, who I called a reject, is making me look embarrassing because at the moment, I'd rather have him at the moment than Maddison. What does that say to you? Anyway, back to you, Ashmatic.
Chris, what are your final words? How are you looking at this North London derby?
Thankfully, I'm half blind, so I really can't see all the finer details. I can't really see it any other way than 1-3. I said it in another stream earlier today. 1-3. I said it on a video that I was asked to give out as well. My prediction. And I think it's going to go that way. I can't see us winning, to be honest. If we do, I think the cards are stacked against us, unfortunately, for this match. Nothing else really. Nice to see Alex again. Nice to see Carl again, and yourself. Thank you for having me on. Big up the chat, smash the likes, and let's do this whenever you want, man. It's been a pleasure again.
Nice. And also, just to bring into context, that's our last head-to-head. So Arsenal, we lost our last game, as you can see in the red. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. So that was our head-to-heads. But yeah, just go to Colin, just to finish up. What are your thoughts? What are your final words, man, on this North London derby?
I'm excited for it. I realized my mic was hot earlier, and I was clacking on my super loud keyboard. Chris was talking, I think. So sorry about that, Chris. But
noticed, but yeah, sorry.
Okay, good. Well, let's keep it that way. So I mean, it's going to be, it could be a bloodbath. Like Alex said, you never dull moment being a Spurs fan. So it's going to be something. It's either going to be a bloodbath or we're going to eke out a win. As long as I don't get battered, I just don't want to get battered. Let's put it that way. But 3 points isn't impossible. It would be. I'd feel like we've really pulled like an Indiana Jones, and like the 3 points were like the bag of coins, and we like slipped a bag of something, like a counterweight onto it real quick, so that like the boulder didn't fall on us. It would feel like we really got lucky, but crazier things have happened. Football's nuts. You can't just look at a fixture list and go win, loss here, win here. You know what I mean? Stuff happens on the day all the time. So we won't really know until Sunday. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see the team selection. Who knows, man? Maybe Big Ange will surprise us. And then I wanted to make a cheeky plug and say that soon, like within the hour, I'm going to have a members call-in show on my channel, Talking Ball. So just wanted to cheeky plug that if you want to come.
I do like your intro.
Thank you.
The outro. We've got this medicine.
Yes, I'm glad that's getting around. Good deal.
Hey, it's mad right now. Because they've got Odegaard, but yeah, we move. Yeah, guys, but yeah, big up the chat. I haven't been able to get everyone's chat in. I apologize, but yeah, big up to the chat. And as always, guys, make sure you please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, man. As I said, always tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, man. That's what we do out here. But yeah, big up my guests as well. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate you guys making a fabulous show. Big up the chat as well. Big up to Marlon that was on earlier hosting the show.
The underrated guy that everyone should know about Marlon, by the way. Everyone should know about Marlon. Everyone should know about Ashmatic, yeah, because if you know somebody that is making waves, he's making waves in the Spurs fan base, yeah, right? And needs to be respected. Yeah, someone needs to respect my boy. Yeah. You know what I mean? And respect my boy even more, yeah, by liking the stream, yeah. And I want to see some more lights up. I want it to 100, yeah. because everyone knows that this guy does a lot of work for the Tottenham fan base. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean. So I want to see it. I need to see it. You know, because he respects Mr. Box Office. Like Marlon, even though he had a bit of a dig at Mr. Box Office, I'd give it to him though, because he's underrated. You know what I mean? And also someone that's not been on the channel for quite a while, but still looks cool. And he might be quiet. Is Has. You know what I mean? Because you need that celebrity on your channel. You know what I mean? A big celebrity on your channel, and that's it. You know what I mean? You know. So he's like a subscribe, and also watch the Rival show tomorrow. Yeah, because a lot of talking. A lot of talking, Ashmatic, isn't it? A lot of talking on our WhatsApp group, isn't it, Ashmatic? Yeah, a lot of talking. Yeah, but they don't show it when they're on the streams, isn't it? Well, we're gonna see some things anyway. We're gonna see it. Yeah, we're gonna see some bottle tomorrow. Yeah, so keep yourselves tuned in. Yeah, and keep yourselves tuned into the reactions as well, because Marlon really does a good show on that as well. Yeah, and we've got the three guys. You know what I mean? We've got Hotspur. Yeah. We got who else is there, mate? Sorry, I forgot the names now, bro. That's really embarrassing, yeah. It's really embarrassing.
Man, you ruined the whole thing.
We've got many people, man, on the lineup right now. But yeah, man, we appreciate everyone on the channel. We appreciate you guys that are panel guests giving your opinions. And at the end of the day, we're all Spurs fans. We want the best for Spurs, even though it may come out in different ways. But I respect everyone's opinion, man, and love for the club. Well, we move, man. We move. And as always, guys, man, come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Spurs.